Hey, man, come on. Game's about to start.
I'll be right there. I'm putting on my lucky shirt. Not bad, huh? How many guys can say they can still fit into something they wore in 3rd grade?
You know, if you got a different lucky shirt, maybe we can invite some girls over here every once in a while. Hey, Lewis! Lewis, game's about to start.
What's with the Green Bay stuff?
Well, everybody I want to win always loses, right?
Yeah.
So tonight I'm rooting for Green Bay, huh? It's the only way to guarantee that Cleveland's going to win.
So what you're telling us is you think you can trick the universe into doing what you want?
Shh! It might hear you. It's everywhere.
I don't believe you guys. You don't need some silly ritual to win. We don't need some silly ritual to win. You don't need a silly ritual to win. You don't need a silly ritual to win. That was 3 times, right?
I don't know. I think I'm joking.
Okay, game's about to start. Ready? Magic hands! Woo!
Are you ready for some football?
And Cleveland wins the toss.
Yes!
I fooled the universe.
No, wait, it flipped over again. Green Bay wins the toss.
Damn it.
Just a perfect early evening in northeastern Wisconsin. The temperature is 81 degrees. Lambeau Field in the midst of a $295 million facelift. But they've retained the character. The same characters are in the same seats. And here come the Green Bay Packers out onto the field at Lambeau, getting ready to take on the Cleveland Browns in this Monday night preseason special. I'm Al Michaels. Welcome to Green Bay. The expectations are very high. The Packers were 12-4 last year, beat the 49ers in a wild card game before getting routed by the Rams. Nothing less than a Super Bowl will satisfy these fans. The Browns, meanwhile, in their 2nd year under Butch Davis, come off a 7-9 season. And John Madden, every time you come into Green Bay, you come into Lambeau Field, there's one name. Then you have Lombardi. Then you think about Starr. You think about Horning. You think about Taylor and Nitschke. Do you put Brett Favre at that level now?
Yeah, I definitely put Brett Favre there. I mean, in any circle they're going to have, in any stadium, in any Hall of Fame, Brett Favre is going to be there. You know, you watch him practice, and the guy's great. You watch him play, and he's great. And when he's doing all these things, he has fun. And then you think about the record, 157 consecutive starts. And he's a quarterback. For 10 years, he hasn't missed a game at that position with these defenses today. That's amazing.
He's just great to watch. He's so expressive. And as far as the Browns are concerned, they were born in '99 of expansion. They won 2 games the first year, 3 the second, 7 the third. Should they be looking for a printer for playoff tickets?
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I would like to say yes, but I really don't think so. As Butch Davis was saying last night, it's going to be tougher to get from 7 up than it was to get up to 7. And I think they still have some things that they need. I mean, their offensive line, they have to settle on a running back. They have to get another wide receiver. All the pieces aren't in place yet for the Cleveland Browns.
One piece that will have to really be in place, though, and have to step it up this year is Tim Couch. Tim Couch was the #1 choice overall in the '99 draft. He and Favre matched up tonight in Green Bay. The Browns and the Packers.
ABC Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Butch Davis had tremendous success over 6 seasons at the University of Miami. Now the Cleveland Browns head coach in his 2nd year there. He's on the sidelines with Melissa Stark. Melissa?
Hi, Al. In his first season with the Browns, they went 7-9, one of the biggest surprises in the NFL as you look ahead to this season. How far do you think this team can go?
Well, Melissa, I think certainly there's no limit to how far we can go. We've got to play well. We've got to build on the successes that we had last year. We've got to make a dramatic improvement offensively this year to kind of match the way that we played defense, and we've got to stay healthy.
Troy Aikman, the #1 overall pick in the '89 draft. You spent 6 seasons with him. Tim Couch, the #1 overall pick in the '99 draft. You have compared the two. Does Couch have what it takes to accomplish the things that Aikman accomplished?
Absolutely. I think that, Troy is a great quarterback and has proven as a Super Bowl champion, but I think that Tim's brings all the intangibles. He's got a great arm. He's got a good mind. He's very athletic. we're trying to get the supporting cast around them, adding a couple of good running backs now, and some playmaking wide receivers. So now we just need to make those next steps and grow as a team.
13 days before the regular season opener against Kansas City, what questions would you like to have answered between now and then?
Well, Melissa, certainly one of the big questions is the performance of our offensive line. We get Trey Johnson back tonight. He hasn't played during the preseason. Find out the solidification. We feel good about Ross Ferber, Ryan Tucker, Dave Wallabaugh. We've got to just keep making some progress. The development of our offensive line is going to have a big impact on the type of offense that we're able to have this year.
Butch, best of luck this year.
Thank you very much.
Al, he has certainly given Cleveland fans reason to cheer again.
There's no question about that. Big, high expectations in that Lake Erie city, and they will open up the season in 13 days as Ryan Longwell gets set to kick off for the Green Bay Packers. And back deep to receive 81 is Quincy Morgan, who's also one of their starting wide receivers, and a rookie out of Virginia Tech, Andre Davis, is the other man who's back. And Andre Davis a couple of years ago was on the receiving end of a lot of Michael Vick passes. Mike Sherman, in his 3rd season as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, was an assistant here in the 90s under Mike Holmgren. Went with Mike to Seattle in '99, and then Ron Wolf, before he retired, brought him here, his first ever head coaching job. Longwell's kick comes down to the 7-yard line. Andre Davis, the Virginia Tech rookie, with a big run back. Davis, one man to beat, gets a block, and he'll go all the way. And I see no flags. Touchdown, 93 yards. And that's the way to win a job.
Yeah, and that's the way to quiet a crowd. I mean, that's what you want to do when you're the road team. You want to make something happen real quick, right off the bat, and the Browns did it. I mean, this is some play. I mean, it was a heck of a run. It was poor coverage by the Green Bay Packers because they had guys get out of their lane. He picked up a couple of blocks, and then this whole crowd just goes completely silent. And about 10 seconds ago, they were going nuts here.
He only returned 10 kicks as a collegiate, none for touchdowns, and Phil Dawson with the point after. So that took 11 seconds.
100 yards in 11 seconds.
93 took the ball at the 7-yard line.
And then here it is from the end zone. And you see, here's a wedge forming right here. So you want to get behind the wedge, and then there's no one in that lane. You see, I was saying how the Packers got out of their lane, and then all that's left is the kicker, Longwell. He's not going to make the play, and he just runs right by him. The wedge did a nice job, and he did a nice job. You take the ball straight up to your wedge, then you break off any blocks that you have in that wedge. And again, there wasn't anyone to touch them, and it wasn't that there was missed tackles or anyone. There was no Green Bay Packers there. I mean, they got bunched up, they got blocked, and then they just got outrun. Look at Longwell. What do you think he's going to do? Not much. Not much.
Ben Taylor is the guy who threw the block on Longwell, and the smiling Butch Davis saying, "My man, well, that's the way to make the final cut."
And that's the way to quiet a crowd. I mean, just listen to this crowd. I mean, you're listening to nothing, listening to air.
2nd-round pick.
Andre, he's going to be their 3rd wide receiver too. You know, the Browns use quite a bit of that, and when they do, he goes in as a 3rd wide receiver.
So now Dawson to kick off with Rondell Mealy and Najee Davenport, and this is Davenport. He's a rookie from Miami who can bring it back only to the 19-yard line as he sees his first preseason action. He's been out with a foot injury. And now Brett Favre, we're going to see him through the first half tonight as he tunes up for the season. Green and Henderson in the backfield. Walker was their #1 draft choice out of Florida State. Driver on the other side, and Bubba Franks, who went to the Pro Bowl last year, the tight end. Clifton, Wall, the venerable Winters, Rivera, and Tauscher are the guys protecting Favre and leading the way for Green.
I like that when you call Frank Winters those kinds of words.
You know, he's been
a bag of donuts.
Yeah, he's been around so long. He's been venerable for about the last 6 to 7 years. From the 19-yard line, they give it to Green. Nothing happening right there. Earl Holmes in amongst those making the hit. Let's take a look at that Cleveland defense. Up front, some big names. Courtney Brown was the #1 overall pick in 2000. Roy, a former Steeler. They love Warren. And Lang comes over from the Skins. Now the linebackers are the former Viking Rudd, the former Steeler Holmes, and Hambrick, who comes in to replace Jameer Miller, who's gone for the season. McCutcheon, Griffith, Bush, and Fuller are the defensive backs. Robert Griffith over from Minnesota, where he spent the first 8 seasons of his career. Second down and 10. Favre slings it to the outside and on the ground to Bubba Franks. Third and 10 now. As you look at the Packer receivers tonight, you will see no Bill Schrader. He is gone. No Antonio Freeman. They didn't sign him, and he signed with Philadelphia the other day. No Corey Bradford, who now is a Houston Texan. So Favre's first 3 wideouts from last year gone.
Yeah, and I was talking to Brett about that the other day, and he said, you know, that we're going to have some ugly plays because of that. But when Terry Glenn, who by the way is going to play tonight, he said when he gets in there and he's healthy, he said he thinks he's going to be something very special.
We'll see him probably on the 2nd or 3rd series. Favre buys time and flings it over the middle and hits David Martin, his tight end, close to a first down. He needs to get to the 29, and they're going to spot it a little bit short of that. Dwayne Rudd with the hit. There is Terry Glenn, who had such a phenomenal rookie season as a Patriot, and all kinds of problems on and off the field, suspended last year, and of all things, he doesn't play very much, and the Patriots go on to win the Super Bowl, so he was clearly expendable and tries to resurrect his career here.
Mike Sherman was saying in the offseason he wanted to get an impact player in offense. He couldn't get one in free agency, couldn't find one, so he finally ended up taking Terry Glenn, who he thought was the best player available.
And he could be a big impact man, as Josh Bidwell's kick is fielded by Dennis Northcutt, and Northcutt brings it back to the 23-yard line. Good boot, 57 yards. And with 13-13 remaining in the opening quarter, the Browns have the early lead. Monday Night Football being brought to you by Madden NFL 2003 from EA Sports. It's in the game. Coors Original Real Golden Beer, the official sponsor of Guys Night Out. By Shell and Nissan and your Nissan dealer. That's your tradition here. The players riding bikes, the kids riding bikes to and from practice. Players taking the kids back so they can play Madden 2003.
Right, and that's a big deal. When you have a bike and you can get a Green Bay Packer with your bike or on your bike, you're big, man, in this town.
Can't get any better for a kid. Tim Couch on first down throws and hits Kevin Johnson, his favorite receiver, gain of a couple. And let's take a look at the Cleveland Browns. Tim Couch out of Kentucky, first overall pick in '99. Green, #1 pick out of Boston College. Shea, the H-back. Morgan and Johnson outside, and Ricky Dudley, the former Raider, is the tight end. Verba is a former Packer. Stokes, Wolabaugh, the ex-Patriot. Trey Johnson makes his first start as a Brown tonight. Ryan Tucker, the former Ram, on that revamped offensive line. 2nd and 6 from the Cleveland 27-yard line. Good protection for Couch, but a good job by the Packers secondary, and Tim just flings it away. 3rd down. Now the Packers defensively are really hurting in the secondary. They have Joe Johnson, the former Saint, Hunt, Gilbert Brown, and Vonnie Holliday, so a pair of great defensive ends. Wayne Hardy Nickerson, longtime Buck and Jaguar, and Niall Diggs, the linebackers. And then you've got Bauju, Antoine Edwards, Darren Sharper, and Aaron Sweeney as the cornerbacks, but Reggie McKenzie is hurt. I'm sorry, Mike McKenzie, their normal starting corner, and Tyrone Williams, the other corner, are both hurt and not playing tonight. And the pass is caught up at the 38-yard line by Quincy Morgan, and that'll move the chains for a first down.
That was a good throw there by Tim Couch, because he had good time. He was able to get back in the pocket, sit there, read, step up, and make the throw. He said in the offseason he studied 2 guys. He studied every pass that Brett Favre made, and he said that he wanted to watch Brett Favre do things like this: shotgun, be able to step. You see the pocket there, and then he has the lane to throw it in, and he throws it perfectly. But that's what you look for in protection. You want a pocket so you can step up, and then in addition to that, you need a lane to throw the ball through.
Fake draw. Couch under pressure, and down he goes from the backside. That's Sweeney, the rookie out of Nebraska, who comes in from the corner, and a kid who's getting a chance to start because of the injuries at both corners.
Watch what he does here. He starts out, and I don't think Couch sees him. He starts out here like he's covering the receiver. Then he's going to come in, and he's going to blitz from that position. You see? He sneaks in, comes in, so no blocker is assigned to him because they don't account for him or count for him, and neither does Tim Couch. See, Couch is looking. In fact, he looks to his right, and he doesn't even see Sweeney coming.
It's spelled like Swiney. It's pronounced Sweeney. We were going back and forth there, but it's Sweeney, like Sweeney Todd. 2nd and 21. Pass is caught over the middle by Jamel White, who will be their 3rd down back, and also their, I guess, 2nd and 21 back as well, John.
Yeah, that's the thing. We were talking about that last week in Denver, that, you know, in the preseason, you'd very seldom see blitzes. And if you did, there'd be, you know, a linebacker blitz or bring a couple linebackers. Now in preseason, they bring, you know, the old kitchen sink. I mean, they're bringing safeties, and that place Sweeney came from the corner position, and that's Ed Donatel, you know, who does those kinds of things. I mean, blitzing and zone dogs and those things are a big part of the Packer defense and the things that they do.
3rd and 20. Couch tries to get him up to their own 48. Rolling left, throwing right, but nothing happening there. Jamel White is taken down by Marcus Anderson. Flag is thrown. Anderson, a rookie from UCLA, and he grabbed him by the face mask. Otherwise, that would have been a heck of a play. He was right there to take him down after no gain, and instead you have this.
I was just going to say that was a heck of a play by Anderson, because they did have a screen out there, and the only Packer defender was Anderson.
Personal foul, grasping and twisting the face mask. Number 20, defense, 15 yards, 1st down.
And now again, there's 2 types of face masks. There's the 5-yard variety and the 15-yard variety. They said that he grabbed it and twisted it. I don't know that he did that, but it's an automatic 1st down anyway. Or it is a 1st down. I don't know. You see, that wasn't twisting it really. He grabbed the face mask, and then the twist part of it, I think, was when he grabbed the shoulder pad.
I agree, and I think that's the angle the official was looking at it from. Because he just had his fingers on the face mask and then tried to release, but too late. Now Couch throws on 1st down, and that pass is incomplete. Quincy Morgan was blanketed that time by Sweeney.
Yeah, I was talking about Tim Couch, and he said what he did in the offseason is he took 2 quarterbacks, Kurt Warner and Brett Favre, and then he took every pass that they threw and studied that and what they did, and then he studied every pass that he threw. And he said that he wants to take some of the things from Kurt Warner, his accuracy, some of the things from Brett Favre, the way he plays in the shotgun, steps in the pocket, moves and throws. Of course, there's some things that Brett Favre does that you don't want to copy.
Right.
That only Brett Favre can do.
2nd and 10. This is their 1st running play, but we have a flag. Thaddeus Hunt started to jump, but unless he was induced, the penalty will be on number 97.
And one of the things Butch Davis was talking about before the game is to get a running game. I mean, they only averaged 2.8 yards a carry last year, and they have to do better than that. And I've always said,
offside, 97, defense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
You know, that the best friend of a quarterback is a good running game. You know, because if you don't have a running game, then it's all on the quarterback's shoulders. Like, he has to do it every play.
And that's why on draft day they had their sights set on Green. So that running play doesn't count because the penalty supersedes it. So the Browns still officially haven't run the ball yet. We've yet to see William Green. 2nd down and 5. And now you do. And there's another flag.
You know, William Green was saying that he likes to run like that. If you look at that formation, there was no fullback. He said he wasn't used in college. At Boston College, he wasn't used to having a fullback or following a lead block, and he liked to be the only guy back there as he was in that formation and just be able to pick a hole. He feels he runs better like that.
Walt Coleman.
Holding, 81, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
81 is wide receiver Quincy Morgan, and you're going to see Quincy Morgan is right here. He starts in and, oops, no, you can't do that. I mean, he just grabbed him, held him, did everything to him. I think he expected the defender to go on in. He was just going to ride him in, and he stopped, and all he had was 2 hands full of cloth.
2 hands full of Antoine Edwards on that play, and it's 2nd down and 15. So still no official running play yet for the Cleveland Browns. They set up a screen. It's caught by Jamel White, who gave a little bit of a burst, and Hardy Nickerson made the first contact with him. He gets across the 50 to the 49-yard line. Finally taken down by Antoine Edwards. Now for Tim Couch last year, you take a look at the 2001 season, very good through the first 8 games, better than a 2-to-1 ratio. But over the last 8, John, 6 TDs and 16 picks.
Yeah, he said that, you know, in the last half of the season, he started to force things, and they would get behind, and then when it get behind, then he felt that he had to do it. And again, that's the offensive line, that's the running game. If you could run, you know, then you can still have mixture. When you can't run and you're behind, then you start forcing things because you have to figure you have to make every play.
Now they give it to Green, and the #1 pick out of Boston College picks up 5 before Aaron Campman takes him down.
I like William Green. I like the way he plays. I watched him on tape and just meeting him and talk to him. I mean, he has a lot of confidence, and it doesn't make any difference what, you know. And he said, you know, I didn't catch a lot, but heck, I can catch. And I said, well, how about blocking? Pass protection is always tough for rookie backs. And he goes, oh, no. I said, heck, I'm a good pass protector. I can block. Well, you can do it all. That's what you have to be able to do. But see, here he is in that single back position with no lead.
2nd and 5 as Couch retreats. There's a wobbly pass inside the 40, caught at the 38-yard line by Kevin Johnson, who comes back to make the grab. Aaron Sweeney made the hit. You know what I loved about Green and Butch Davis last night, John, is Butch coached at Miami, has a lot of Hurricanes on his team here. Clinton Portis was a guy who played for Butch Davis for a while, and Portis was selected by Denver in the 2nd round, and Clinton told Butch, you're going to regret this.
Yeah.
You took the wrong guy.
Well, and then I think somewhere along the line, William Green told him that because Butch was going to recruit him down there at Miami, and William Green ended up going to Boston College, but he said it was too hot in Miami for him.
There he is again, and Green gets taken down by Hardy Nickerson at the 33-yard line.
I think if you were Butch Davis or in any way associated with Miami University, you're part of pro football right now. It was like every place we go, they got, oh, this guy played at Miami, this guy played at Miami.
Yeah. He leaves, they win the national championship.
Watch this. Here's Barry Stokes. Here's the left guard. Now watch as he pulls out. See, he starts and he pulls and he's looking for someone to trap. Then it ends up in a lead, and they just run right off him. That's what you do. The guard, as he pulls, he has to find the hole before the back can find the hole.
2nd and 6, and they give it to Green again. Steady diet to Green, but all he sees are green jerseys that time. Nobody out in front of him, and finally it's Darren Sharper to bump him out.
Yeah, you get to the point of no return, and that's one of the things William Green is going to learn, that the bigger guys are a lot faster in this league. And when you get out there in that corner, you better turn it up. You can't dance out there because there's going to be a bunch of off-colored jerseys there in a second.
Penalty on the play.
Holding, 79. Offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
That's Barry Stokes.
Yeah, and the ball was run away from his side too. He kind of got stuffed on the line of scrimmage because I saw Stokes get started. Here's Stokes right here. And you're going to see right there. See, he kind of gets stuffed right there. He gets knocked in the backfield by Cletius Hunt, and then I don't know where the hold is. I think that's a phantom call because I mean he was away from the play. He was a left guard, and the play went around the right end. I don't know what the heck that was all about.
A lot of Raider fans think that Walt Coleman's capable of a lot of phantom calls.
Oh, poor old Walt Coleman. Yeah, but Walt Coleman was the guy that called it a fumble, and then Walt Coleman was also the guy that went and looked at it and then said it was tuck. It was the old tuck rule.
The old tuck rule. The New England Oakland snowball game last year on 2nd down and 16 here. Jamel White in the backfield. Screen. Here's White. And White is able to take it to the 33-yard line. And Hardy Nickerson's been all over the place thus far in the first quarter, making the stop.
You know, they think that defensively they really helped themselves in a couple of places. One is in the defensive line and getting Joe Johnson, and the other place is getting Hardy Nickerson. Just a football player, just a leader, just inspiration, the way you practice, the way you play. I mean, Hardy Nickerson is a pro, and is when you say what is a pro football player, what is a pro middle linebacker, it's this guy right here.
16th season for Hardy Nickerson. 3rd down and 7 now at the 33-yard line for the Browns, who scored on the opening kickoff of the game. Going deep and right there, caught by Morgan for the touchdown. 33 yards as Couch hooks up with his number 2 receiver. Kevin Johnson would be number 1, but they do love Morgan. He's big at 6'1", 210, second year out of Kansas State.
We talked about Sweeney earlier being the rookie, and you're going to see Quincy Morgan just beat him. Here's Quincy Morgan right here. He takes off, he makes a little out move, holds Sweeney right there, and then he just runs right by him. And I'll tell you, Tim Couch threw a perfect ball. I mean, he threw it over him and on his outside shoulder. Look at that thing. That is a thing of beauty.
And Morgan hauls it in as Dawson converts with 5:23 left in the first quarter. Your perfect start for the Cleveland Browns, 14-0. Well, the Browns took more than half of the quarter to get to the end zone, but they go 77 yards, mainly through the air. They've had only 2 runs on that drive, and then it's a payoff to Morgan in the end zone from 33.
Yeah, that shot we just saw there, talking to the defensive backs of the Green Bay Packers, that was their ex-strong safety, Roy Butler, down there.
Butler has retired. At the 9-yard line, this is Javon Walker, their number 1 draft choice, the wide receiver from Florida State, with a decent run back, but a flag comes in at the end as Bentley makes the tackle up at the 33-yard line. Kevin Bentley.
I'll tell you, the Browns have really looked good. I mean, they come up the opening kickoff, the special teams look good, then their defense gets in and does a job, and then their offense and Tim Couch and the mixture of, as you said, not a lot of running.
74. Return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's Aaron Campman. And there's another look at Leroy Butler. For so many seasons, what a job he did as their strong safety. Back in Green Bay, our final preseason telecast. 2 weeks from tonight, we go to Foxborough. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the New England Patriots on Monday Night Football, and our very best to Patriots owner Bob Kraft underwent a heart bypass operation a few days ago. Out of the hospital, back home, and will be there on opening night. Looking forward to seeing him and getting the season underway as Brett Favre nearly comes across the line of scrimmage and may have, in fact, on a pass for Javon Walker with David McCutcheon covering.
Hey, that's about as tough a coverage as you're ever going to have. What McCutcheon has there is when Brett Favre starts to run, you have to plaster to your guy, and then you better stay with him, because Brett Favre can throw this thing 100 yards, so it doesn't make any difference when he starts to run whether he goes right or left.
Pass, number 4, offense, 5-yard penalty, lost it down, second down.
Line of scrimmage was the 16-yard line. He was clearly across it.
I was just going to say, he'll even throw it once it gets beyond the line of scrimmage. You still have to cover. But he's going to go. He's still looking. He took that step. Then when he took that second step, he stepped right into a right hand too of Hambrick. As he took that second step, that's the one that put him over the line.
Hambrick's the guy that Cleveland picked up to replace Jameer Miller, torn Achilles, out for the season. So Sherman's team backed up now to the 11-yard line.
This wasn't the way Mike Sherman thought this game was going to go, or this crowd thought this game was going to go. But isn't this a great place for, a preseason game, and here in Wisconsin and Green Bay, and look, the place is packed.
It's packed, and it was packed about 45 minutes before the game.
Yeah, they come here. They they tailgate. They got their brats and stuff going out, and then they come in here. They watch the whole pregame warm-up. It's like going to a baseball game, watching batting practice.
Nobody needs directions here. It's the same 60,000 people in the same seats every game. 2nd and 14. Amon Green takes it up to the 19-yard line. We know that you can will your tickets here.
Right. It never used to be that way. I mean, they were saying that, you know, at one time that when someone would pass away, then their ticket would go up for sale. But now they can will them, and there are 3rd and 4th and probably some 5th generation people that have season tickets.
No question. The only good news for some of the folks here is that they've added about 5,000 seats. So
I think they still have the Milwaukee game too, don't they? Where there's a couple games where the people from Milwaukee can buy tickets.
That is true. 3rd down and 8, and this is Green taking it up to the 21-yard line, and that was put in a couple of years ago when they decided they would play no more games in Milwaukee. They used to play 2 or 3 games a season in Milwaukee, and they stopped that. It allowed those people to still buy the tickets.
I know when I leave this stadium and go down towards Milwaukee on the way to Chicago or wherever, I mean it's bumper to bumper from here to Chicago after a game.
Milwaukee about a 2-hour drive is on 4th and 4 now. Josh Bidwell to punt. Dennis Northcutt to run it back for the Browns. Short, high, floating kick. Northcutt from the 44. Nowhere to go. Marston Bailey with the tackle. So a slow start tonight for Brett Favre and for the Green Bay Packers. 3:39 left in the period. Cleveland 14, Green Bay nothing, and the Browns have the ball again. $290 million will be spent to refurbish Lambeau Field. They're about 70% finished. They've added about 5,000 or 6,000 seats, some luxury boxes, an atrium, Hall of Fame, stores, shops. Want to redo the whole neighborhood around Lambeau Field.
You know, when I drove up, I said, yep, they fouled it up. I was going to foul up Lambeau Field. Then I walked in here on the field in the stadium, and they didn't foul it up.
Yeah, once you're down on the field, as it's William Green picking up 3, it feels very much the way it did last year.
Right. This is still Lambeau Field. This is still Green Bay. You still come down Lombardi Avenue and into this park, and they kept everything the same. As you look around, all the the bleacher seats are the same. They've added some, and of course up above you have the luxury suites. I mean, I don't know that Vince Lombardi and those guys ever thought about that.
No, or salary caps or any of that other stuff. 2nd and 7 now, and with 3 minutes to play in the period. Couch throwing, and along the sidelines doing a nice little toe dance there was William Green to make the catch and advance it about 3 yards.
One thing, Tim Couch has had good protection. He went to empty backfield here, so that kind of says that that there's no one in the backfield. You're not going to run. But watch this protection. The Packers only bring 3, but they form a nice pocket for him of protection, and even though he runs out there. See, once they know they're only bringing 3, then they can slide that free guard over to Joe Johnson. That free guard happened to be Trey Johnson.
3rd down, short 2. From the Green Bay 47-yard line. And a delay. Here's Green. Picks up the 1st down, and that's the running game that Butch Davis and the Browns will need to contend for a playoff spot this year. Nate Wayne with the tackle.
That was a heck of a run by William Green because he ran right into a blitz. They overloaded that left side of the Browns, and you're going to see here where they got the extra guy. They got the blitz guy right up here, and they run right into the overload. And they get a block, William Green, by taking the ball. Watch, you see the overload there? And by dipping inside and then taking the ball to the outside, he runs right by the free guy who was Joe Johnson.
And Joe Johnson is the guy who is shaken up as they tend to him with 2:02 left in the period.
In fact, they're checking Joe Johnson. They're checking both of his arms on that one. That's his left elbow they're checking there, and that could have been hyperextended. You're going to see him. He's going to come free here. And you see William Green just runs right through his left arm. Now, he kind of fell on his right elbow, and he tried to tackle William Green with his left arm.
Joe Johnson, high-priced free agent, did a great job with the Saints. Here's Green to the 34, so a very healthy dose of William Green, and it's very clear that Butch Davis wants this guy to be his opening day starter against Kansas City in Cleveland at running back. Now, as you look at the Browns, they improved last year, but still in rushing yards per game, they were last in the league, 84 yards per game, 28th in passing yards, and near the bottom in points per game as well.
You know, we talked about that last week. Does a running back make an offensive line, or does an offensive line make a running back? And I believe, and always have, the running back makes the offensive line. So that's why they drafted William Green, and that's what they're looking for.
Meanwhile, Tim Couch has to take a timeout here. The period dominated by Cleveland. In fact, as the game opened, Andre Davis ran the opening kickoff 93 yards for a touchdown. And Cleveland put together a beautiful 77-yard drive, and now they have the ball again with a timeout. Let's get an update on Joe Johnson as we go to the field and Melissa.
Well, Al, Joe Johnson, who Mike Sherman called the most dominant defensive player in free agency this year, he has a strained left elbow. His return is probable. Of course, they need him back. He had 21 sacks over the last 2 seasons.
Well, the good thing for the Packers is that they still have 13 days until opening day. They'll meet the Titans here on Friday night, their final preseason game, and then the Atlanta Falcons come here on September 8th. And John, you've always said, though, this is the important preseason game. It's the next to last one that matters.
Yeah. If you're going to have what you call a dress rehearsal, it's this game. But sometimes health doesn't let you do that, because the next one's the last one. You just want to get through that and be healthy for your opening.
Second down 5. And Green takes the ball to the 30-yard line, where Niall Diggs makes a stop. Well, college football already in full swing now. And this Saturday, the feature game is number 9 Washington against number 10 Michigan at noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific. And then later that day, Virginia against number 5 Florida State. Illinois meets Missouri in a regional contest. And college football this weekend, Labor Day weekend, right here on ABC. Hey. Thank you.
Always great to come to Lambeau Field.
We'll be here in the regular season as well. November 4th, Miami will be here. Third down and 2 from the 31, and after the timeout, Couch flips it over Wayne and then hits Jamel White, and White takes it to the 24. And that's exactly what Butch Davis wants. He wants Green to be the man on first and second down, White to be the man on third down, and they move the chains as the period ends. All Cleveland, 14-0 Browns, and Monday Night Football is back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Back in Green Bay, Al Michaels, John Madden, Melissa Stark. Beautiful late August night. Temperature 81 at the outset. Joe Johnson is back in the game. Hurt his elbow in the last series. Second quarter begins. First and 10 Cleveland. They lead 14-0 with the ball at the Green Bay 24-yard line. Couch faking the draw. Flag is thrown and then just throws it away.
He's going to be on his right tackle, and that's the one that the referee calls as he's watching the tackle on that side. That's his right tackle, Ryan Tucker.
Holding, 72, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Here it is. You're going to see Ryan Tucker is right here. You see now Couch is going to come to this side. He starts out all right. He's okay there. And then as Holiday gets by him, you see what he did? He just grabbed his right shoulder and pulled him down. And that was the hold that let Tim Couch escape, too.
Tucker coming over from the Rams. Cleveland's third penalty tonight. All 3 have been offensive holding. On first and 20 on a slant intended for Johnson, covered by Sweeney. At the beginning of the game, Melissa was talking to Butch Davis, who was in Dallas when Troy Aikman came there about the comparison of the two guys. And there they are, the first 37 NFL starts. That's how many Couch has made in his career. And the numbers are quite similar, as you can see. 6.65 yards per pass for Troy, 6.54 for Tim. Record about the same, pass rating close. So they're up to similar starts, at least statistically. 2nd and 20, and Couch drops the ball, and it's covered up by Jamel White. But one thing that I think of, John, when I think of those two guys, is Troy had a fellow by the name of Emmitt Smith come and join him, and Couch can only hope that William Green is his Emmitt Smith.
And I think the other guy is Michael Irvin. I mean, when Troy went there, they had some things to work with. They did things in his 4th year, which is Couch's 4th year. Troy Aikman went to a Super Bowl. But as you said, he had Emmitt Smith behind them, and he had Michael Irvin to throw it to, and that's what they would do. I mean, I remember Norv Turner was the offensive coordinator, and I'd say, Norv, what are you doing? And he said, well, we're going to hand it to Emmitt and throw it to Michael.
Well, Kevin Johnson would be the equivalent of Michael Irvin in this comparison, as Jamel White takes the ball inside the 35 to the 33-yard line, and you're looking at about a 50-yard field goal attempt, if they so choose at this point, from Phil Dawson.
I'm impressed with Tim Couch, though. I mean, he's a big guy, and he's strong, and you know, he studies, he works hard. I mean, he's one of the first guys there, the last guy to leave, and in today's football, your quarterback has to be your leader, and he has to be that kind of guy.
Dawson, who has never attempted a 50-yard field goal, 50-plus, in a regular season game. This one is from 51, and it is no good.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah. So they drove into Green Bay territory, but that offensive holding call moved them back, and in effect moved them out of field goal range. Still 14-0. Green Bay has it. Well, next Monday, Labor Day night, we won't be here, but Keith Jackson and Dan Fouts will. They'll be in L.A. as Auburn takes on number 19 USC. So Labor Day, Monday Night Football, college football, Tigers, Trojans from L.A. Brett Favre on first down throws, and he hits Bubba Franks, who went to the Pro Bowl last year, for a gain of 7. The Packers are still looking for their first down.
You know, most of the time when they say they want to play their starters the first half or into the 3rd quarter, they're assuming that's about 30 plays. And I think that's what Mike Sherman would like to have his starters play, is at least 30 plays. And as you said, so far, they've only had 7 plays.
And Cleveland's had 22, and we still haven't seen Terry Glenn, and he is supposed to make his Packer debut tonight. 2nd and 3. Here is Green, and they finally get that elusive first down, as it takes them over 17 minutes to do it. Darren Hambrick makes the tackle.
During the break there, I heard some fan yell, come on, Packers, let's get a first down. And you think of Lambeau Field and Brett Favre and the explosive Packers, and you don't think of them being down 14-0 to Cleveland and not having a first down.
Wish granted on their 8th play.
Hey, one thing we know about Brett Favre, that he may get down a few times, but he's not going to stay there.
From the 46-yard line, this is Green to the 39-yard line, behind a William Henderson block. Henderson throwing good blocks on each of the last 2 plays.
He always throws good blocks. I mean, Mon Green says that, you know, that he's a guy that likes to run behind a fullback. Now watch Henderson here. He's going to start in, and he's going to lead him right there in the forward. Boom! He makes that block, and Amon Green is right behind him, and then he breaks off to the right off of Henderson's block.
Paving the way for Green, who played at Seattle. Of course, he had the reputation of a fumbler. Doesn't have that reputation anymore. He has a reputation right now as one of the best running backs in the National Football League. Favre on 2nd and 2 to play fake. Bullet over the middle. Hauled in by Bubba Franks, his 2nd catch on the drive. And the Pack on their way back, now down at the 23 for a first down.
You know, he threw that ball the way Brett Favre throws a football, and only Brett Favre can throw it. I mean, he's going to get back there, and he's just going to fire that thing. You know, it's like, okay, enough of this. You know, we've horsed around here. Let's get in the I formation. We run it. Let's get in the I formation. We'll go play pass. Just give me a lane, and I'll just drill it in there at old Bubba. Now, watch this with real time. That ball comes out of there. He loves to fling it. He loves to put that heat on that ball.
Randy Johnson of the NFL at the 19-yard line. That's caught by Robert Ferguson, who's in the grasp of Dalen McCutcheon. And Robert Ferguson is a guy who really has the opportunity to step it up. Second-round draft choice last year. Barely played, but he's the guy. With Freeman gone and Bradford gone and Schrader gone, it's going to be Ferguson, and they hope Terry Glenn.
Well, and Donald Driver, you know, he's a guy that seems to make big plays for the Packers. And I know that last year when I was doing a Packer game, I was talking to Brett Favre, and he said, I wish they'd just put Driver and Bradford in there all the time, because he said their speed and their threat just loosens up the defense.
Donald Driver, fourth year, played at Alcorn State. Back to Green. Green trying to pick his way through, and takes it down to the 16-yard line. He's about 3 yards shy of the first, tackled by Hambrick.
You know, one thing about Amon Green, he always carries the ball in his left hand. He never puts it in his right hand. And, you know, when they, fumble, you always get to evaluate, is it because he doesn't switch hands and all that stuff. And he said it's just not natural. I mean, he told me last year he was going to try and put it in his right hand. He said yesterday, he said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to think about which hand. I'm just going to put it where it goes naturally, and it will naturally always go in his left arm.
3rd down and 3 as far over the middle. Hits Henderson. So Henderson, after throwing those 2 good blocks, is the recipient of the pass here, very close to a first down.
And Darren Hambrick, the new strong side linebacker of the Cleveland Browns, was right there to make that hit on Henderson. Which Davis figures, when they lost Jameer Miller, that they were really lucky that a guy like Hambrick was around in free agency. And you see the play here. I mean, Henderson catches a ball, and boom, there's Hambrick right there to darn near loosen up a whole bunch of things.
Look at the umpire too, Jim Duke. He's right in the middle of that.
When you tackle someone and you can knock down 4, 5, 6 guys plus an umpire, that's what you call good velocity in your hit.
Duke took a pretty good shot there.
I think someday.
Offense, 5 yards, still first down.
Someday those umpires, I think, are going to wear helmets. Seriously, you know how we always talk about you have to wear helmets on a bicycle and a motorcycle and all that stuff. Those guys, it's very dangerous in there where that umpire is.
John, I couldn't agree more. I mean, look at the National Hockey League. Most of the referees and the linesmen wear helmets now.
Yeah.
They're arguing about the play clock. That's the argument right here. They said the play clock wasn't appropriately set. So Walt Coleman confers about that.
See that wristband that Brett Favre has on there? He has the
40-second clock was reset. Delay. Offense.
Didn't seem like 40.
No, it didn't. But they said that it was reset and that they didn't get the playoff. And see, Brett Favre has a wristband there, so all they have to do is, one of the things that Mike Sherman says, that some of his plays have so much verbiage that they can't get it all in the talk, so they just say number 7, and then he looks at the wristband and he just calls play number 7.
You got 8.
First and 15 now from the 18-yard line. Set up a backside screen to Green, and Green is able to avoid a couple of tacklers and then take it down to the 16-yard line. Well, Brett Favre, he's 33 now, very much in full flower, and as you look at the greats in the history of the game, Dan Marino way out in front in touchdown passes. And then there was Fran Tarkenton second. John Elway ended his career at an even 300. But as you look at Brett, 14 more, and he's only behind Marino and Tarkenton.
And the way he looks and the way he's playing, and the fact that, I mean, to me, it's just amazing that he hasn't missed a start in 10 years, that he's going to get it quickly.
Catches made here by Franks. You talk about the National Football League, and there's always this thing about, quarterbacks and where the great new quarterbacks going to come from. But they always seem to, they pop up. I mean, you've got the Peyton Mannings and maybe Tim Couch down the line. Kurt Warner came out of nowhere. But, I mean, when it comes to a face of the National Football League, to me, it's Brett Favre.
Yeah, and the thing about him, you just see him now, this determination that he has. Like, okay, enough of this nonsense. Let's go get him. And the thing that I always liked about Brett Favre is the way he plays so hard and still has fun doing it. I mean, you're going to see him laugh out there, and just like he remembers it's a game.
Fake give, 3rd and 7, and then he flings that one too high, intended for his #1 draft choice, Javon Walker.
Yeah, that was a key on the Packers and Brett Favre that they had, is he would always run his keeper or bootleg to the right. He never kept or bootleg to the left. And on that time, that play was called here just for a key breaker. He got in the shotgun and he ran a bootleg to his left.
Injury to the Browns. Can't make it out just yet. And that is Kennard Lang, who is shaken up. And it's 14-0 Cleveland. Kennard Lang shaken up on the play. We'll check on him. Craig Nall sitting next to Brett Favre. Nall is fighting for a spot on the roster to be the #3 quarterback behind Brett and Doug Peterson. And Ryan Longwell now comes in to attempt a 28-yard field goal with Peterson to hold. Puts the high snap down, and the Packers get on the board. But the drive bogs down, and they have to settle for 3. And with 6:52 to go to the half, 14-3 Cleveland. College football all day Saturday on ABC. Doubleheader during the day, and then at night the kickoff classic. Notre Dame against the Terrapins of Maryland, coming your way 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific. So a doubleheader Saturday afternoon, a night game Saturday night. College football next Monday night as well.
I hope he kicks it to Andre Davis again.
Yeah, Davis returned the opening kickoff 93 yards for a touchdown. And this one is fielded by Quincy Morgan up at the 12. And Morgan, the wide receiver, takes it back out to the 32-yard line. And let's check in with Melissa.
Al, William Green's road to becoming a first-round draft pick was anything but easy. He grew up in the projects outside of Atlantic City, New Jersey. His father, a former Vietnam veteran, was a heroin addict who contracted AIDS and later died from it. William was 12 years old. Before he died, he gave AIDS to William's mother. She died when he was 13 years old. He was raised by his grandmother. And after this play, I'll tell you how he got through it all.
Yeah, he's the kind of kid you really root for. Met him last night. Polite. Big smile. Performing pretty well as far tonight. Well, right there he runs into Gilbert Brown. That's a tough guy to get to. Back to you, Melissa.
Al Green said it was his dream of playing in the NFL that kept him going. In fact, the day that his mother died, he played in a football game. It was always his outlet. His coaches were the ones who pushed and motivated him, and he said that his one regret right now is that he's made it to the NFL and he can't take his mom out shopping or buy her a house. But he's doing the next best thing, Al. He's dedicated his career to her.
And I think this guy's going to have a very good career. 2nd and 13. Butch Davis is going to give him every opportunity to be the man. Throws caught up at the 37 by Quincy Morgan.
You know, it was ironic on that play before that he ran into Gilbert Brown. We were talking to him last night. He was saying, you know, this is big. He said, I'm playing in Green Bay and Lambeau Field. He said, I'm playing against Gilbert Brown. He said, I remember watching Gilbert Brown and the Packers when I was in grammar school. And he said, that's all I can think about. I'm going to run in that line against Gilbert Brown.
And he'll never forget the first time he ran into Gilbert Brown.
That's what I thought of. Old Gilbert gave him the old funk job and then did a gravedigger deal on him. Gilbert
Brown's always like running into 2 guys.
I mean, one thing, when he's in there, you can't cut back if he's still up.
3rd down and 5. Couch throws, caught over the middle, and paying the price is Andre Davis. He gets popped by Darren Sharper.
And that's what Sharper will do. You know, at one time they had Darren Sharper in there and Leroy Butler, and you came in the middle, you were going to have a collision. Butler's not there, but Sharper's still there, and that's the thing, that they're either going to knock the ball out or they're going to knock someone or something out. Look at Leroy Butler. He said, look at that. Well, that's the way to do it. That's the way I used to do it. But Sharper, as he comes in here, that's his play right there. I mean, he's reading that quarterback and he sees the receiver. You see him come down, he got to jump on that thing. If he'd been a split second earlier, he would have gone for the ball. Split second late, he has to go for the receiver.
And Davis went wobbling off the field. William Green Up to the 44 for a gain of 3 with 4.5 to go.
Sharper's going for player of the game, Alan. That play, watch him. He's gonna come off the corner. He's coming up in a safety blitz. He comes up here to the outside. He's right here, and the ball snapped, and then he sees run. He just flattens right down the line of scrimmage and gets in and tackles the ball carrier from behind. Those are 2 very good plays in a row.
Darren Sharper, one of the bulwarks of the Packer defense. 2nd down and 7. And Darren Sharper again, stopping William Green. I don't think I ever used that word on the air before, John. You see, we have a new team here and a bulwark, but he's a bulwark.
Yeah, he is a bulwark, whatever that is. He's an old hitting bulwark full of postum. Watch him. I mean, he's going to come right here. Here's Darren Sharper here, and you can see he's coming up to be the 8th man up. That's his gap. He's going to fill that hole right there, and that was a hole that William Green was running into.
There's a bulwark.
Look at Roy Butler. He said, "That's just like I used to do it all those years." Sharper learned from me.
3rd down and 4 from the 47-yard line. Couch, and that's caught across the 50-yard line. But does he get the first down? No, he doesn't even make the catch. Andre King.
And Darren Sharper was there again. I mean, that was a defensive series by Darren Sharper on how to play safety in the National Football League. Watch him on this play. The ball's going to come in. He's just waiting right there, lurking, and he gets the jump and just knocks it out of there. I mean, he had a great hit, and he had a good blitz, and then he had a good coverage.
Cleveland's first punt, clearly Sharper in regular season form. 13 days before the opener. Chris Gardocki's kick, and Gardocki one of the very best, and that's why he does that time and time again, and they down it inside the 5. It's a big series for Sharper with 2:54 to go in the opening half. Browns on top of the Packers in Green Bay by 11. Green Bay, it's a good night for t-shirts and shorts and tank tops and all of the rest. But we'll be back in November.
I don't know if it's a good night for cheeseheads, though. And I don't know, because it's kind of warm. And
right.
I know one thing, when we're back in November, we're going to see a lot more cheeseheads than we see here in August.
80 degrees, they have melted cheeseheads tonight. 1st and 10 from the 3-yard line. As Favre, under pressure, slings it about 60 yards, and it's intercepted across midfield by Corey Fuller.
We see the good of Brett Favre, and we'll see the bad of Brett Favre in every game, and I think that is one there that he's going to make a big play. He's a gunslinger, and he's going to force some things, and that is one. And they were back there was coverage back there, and he just threw it right into coverage, and that was one. I mean, that, I mean, when he throws it, that he shouldn't throw them. He's just throwing that as far as he can. As you said, he just flung it up there and hoped that something would happen, but it's right into double coverage, and he doesn't even get it far enough so it could be a real jump ball.
58 yards in the air. And I guess the only good thing about it, if you're the Packers, if you were to go 3 and out, this was about as good as a punt. Ball at the 46, 1st down, and Kelly Holcomb has come into the game to replace Tim Couch, who went 14 of 18 for 112. There's Couch, and he has his right elbow wrapped, and we'll go to Melissa for a report.
Tim Couch came over to the bench. He sat down, complained about pain in his right forearm. They iced it, and as you saw, he just went into the locker room, so we'll keep you posted on that. And as far as defensive end, Kennard Lang, one of the prize free agent acquisitions from the Redskins, he has a sprained right ankle. He's also in the locker room undergoing x-rays. We'll keep you posted on both.
Well, they have 2 weeks to get them both healthy. They play Carolina in a preseason game Friday night at Cleveland, and then open with Kansas City on the 8th of September. Screen is set up. This is taken by Green, who steps out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
And Tim Couch was looking so comfortable in there tonight, and that's one thing that you never want to see is your quarterback, a right-handed quarterback, to go out with a big old bandage on his right arm, because whether it's his forearm or elbow or any of those things, you know that that part of you has to almost be perfect to play. I mean, you can have some other parts that aren't working 100%, but that right arm of a right-handed quarterback, you better have all of it.
2nd down and 9 from the 47-yard line. So Holcomb, who's played a lot in preseason, hands the ball off to White. Holcomb's been around for a number of years, but has played very sparingly. He was the backup in Indianapolis, now the past couple of years in Cleveland. And this will take us to the 2-minute warning. First half winding down. Cleveland 14, Green Bay 3. Lexus halftime show is coming up. Good feature. Interesting story about Pat Tillman, defensive back for the Arizona Cardinals. Came out of Arizona State, who was elected to become part of the armed forces for love of country is what we have titled it. Melissa Stark has the report, and that comes your way at the half. Third down and 4 after the 2-minute warning. Kelly Holcomb is the quarterback with Couch back in the locker room, and Holcomb throws, and that is caught by White. And White takes it out of bounds at the 40-yard line, and that's a first down.
In the first half, that combination has looked good. You know, of William Green, you know, being the running back, being the starting running back, first down, second down. Then you get into a passing situation. You put Jamel White in, and then, you know, and he knows how to, you know, find that open spot. In fact, we're talking to Butch Davis last night. He said he was a lot like Dave Meggett. Remember when Meggett used to do that for the Giants and Bill Parcells? And you can see on that play, he reminded me of Dave Meggett.
He does. White 5'9" and about 208. There are the numbers for Green. In on first down now from the 40-yard line. Green slipping to the outside and trying to cut it back. And gets wrestled down at the 39-yard line. Sharper at the bottom of the pile. Tim Couch, before leaving the game with his elbow wrap. Very impressive numbers, 14 of 18. Favre has been on the money, 8 of 11, but had that 1 pick and a QB rating of only 44. And Ryan Tucker, the right tackle for Cleveland, is hurt.
You know, we said that Tim Couch studied every one of Brett Favre's plays a year ago, and he looked like he learned it pretty well, didn't he?
No doubt.
Now Brett has to look at some Tim Couch film.
So they've lost Couch for the moment, Lang for the moment, and now Tucker. Monday Night Football being brought to you by Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Cold down easy. Walt Disney Pictures presents The Rookie, available on DVD and video tomorrow. Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade, is it in you? And Kia Motors, makers of a full line of quality cars. Roll out the barrel. The work on Tucker. Former Ram, they picked him up. Trying to cement the offensive line. Guys like Trey Johnson, Dave Wollabaugh, the expatriate. Ross Verba, the former #1 draft choice of the Green Bay Packers. They love you so much, you're going to succeed Mike Sherman someday.
No, I'm not going to succeed Mike Sherman, but I love Sheboygan too. I mean, that, you know, some places you'd like to be from. Sheboygan is one of the. Where are you from? I'm from Sheboygan. I'd like to do that. You know, that's the thing about these preseason games. You always, I mean, here Tim Couch is looking so good, and then you see him go up with a big old thing on his right arm, and that's bad. And then Ryan Tucker, your starting tackle, he gets hurt. You just get Trey Johnson back, and you're trying to get an offensive line together, and then you have guys go down like that. That's big.
Cleveland, of course, lost Jameer Miller, their ace linebacker, in their first preseason game, and that pass is incomplete, intended for Kevin Johnson with 1 minute and 26 seconds remaining in the opening half.
That was one of those where the two defensive ends, Joe Johnson and Vonnie Holliday, met at the quarterback. One came from the right, one came from the left, and they just kind of got old Holcomb sandwiched in there. That's going to be an improved area for this Green Bay defense, is the defensive line. They have 5 guys that could be starters.
3rd and 9. Holcomb out of the shotgun from the 39-yard line. Dumps it off. Morgan fighting for a first down. Comes up a little shy at the 32-yard line. Sweeney makes the tackle. And they work on Tucker. Couch back in the locker room.
You know, when you see him working on that lower extremity, you hope that it's an ankle and not an Achilles. I mean, first of all, you hope it's not a knee, so you can tell it's not a knee. So now you know they're working down below there, and if you'd have you'd rather have an ankle than an Achilles.
Heal a lot faster. Speaking of Achilles, that's what knocked Jameer Miller out for the season. You get an Achilles in preseason and you are done.
And now they have to, do something to get that pass rusher that they lost in Jameer Miller, being a linebacker who could also be a down lineman in a pass rushing situation. I think Darren Hambrick can, take part of it, but he's not going to take the pass rushing part.
Brought Hambrick in, ex-Cowboy. Well, 2 weeks from tonight, we're back with you. No more preseason. It counts. 2 weeks from tonight, the world champion New England Patriots. Home opener. Official stadium opener, even though they played preseason games at Gillette Field against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I think the last time I saw the Patriots play that I was there, of course, was the Super Bowl. And I think that was one of the best games and best coach games that I've ever seen. The job that Bill Belichick did with that defense against that Ram offense was utterly amazing.
There's another 50-yard attempt for Dawson, and this one gets blocked. He missed from 51 earlier, and the ball is still loose, and it's picked up by the Packers inside the 30-yard line, and it's Darren Sharper. Sharper is the guy who blocked it, and Sharper is the guy who picks it up. Cledius Hunt was the first guy to get his hand on it. Hunt knocked it back, and then Sharper was right there and takes it into the end zone.
You try and get the big push up the middle, and that's what 97 did. Cledius Hunt got a push up the middle. He got the ball knocked down, and then Darren Sharper, who's had a great second quarter. This guy's all pro in the preseason. He's all pro in the regular season too, because he's a top player. But in this second quarter, he has kind of taken over this game, hasn't he?
Very much so. And for Dawson, as we said, he'd never attempted a 50-yarder in the regular season. He's 0 for 2 tonight, long well for the point after. And just when it looked as if Cleveland would go into the locker room with an 11-point lead and maybe even a 14-point lead, it turns out to be 4.
Let's watch him block here, and we'll see Cledius Hunt. He's going to come right in here. He's number 97. And what you do is you get the pressure right here, and you see he gets his hand up, his right hand. And again, the kicker, as Steve Mariucci said, you want him to, hit a wedge. You don't want him to hit a 2-iron. That came out of there like a 2-iron because Cledius Hunt was able to get his right hand up and knock the ball down. This is what it looks like right here. Now watch Cledius Hunt come up. He gets the ball tipped. Oh, that's the extra point. Oh, no, that was a block. I got discombobulated.
You're right.
I turned around.
It looked like the ball was spinning forward.
It didn't look like it was blocked. But Darren Sharper, he's been something special, hasn't he?
Tremendous series on the last series. Well, he is a guy clearly ready for opening day.
Then you wonder why Little League players run around and jump on home plate. The old Lambeau leap, and that's what they show, and that's what they do. And the college players copy the pros, and the high schools copy the colleges, and the Little League copy them all.
There's a ground ball fielded at the 36, and then lateral back, and into Green Bay territory is Jawan Dawson, number 88, wide receiver. Got a touchdown pass last week.
You want to see something else? Watch Hardy Nickerson here. He's going to take Cledius Hunt right in front of him, and he's going to give him the extra oomph right there. See, he gives him right there the oomph, the push, to get him up. That was kind of a two-man job there, wasn't it?
Well, if you're going to do a Lambeau leap, I mean, you have to make sure that that fence is no more than about 3 or 4 feet tall.
I'm always happy to see those guys come out of there once they get in. I mean, he's going deeper and deeper in there. You know, the first guy to ever do a Lambeau leap, you'd think it was an offensive player?
You would think it was Robert Brooks, but it wasn't.
No, it was Roy Butler. He started the Lambeau leap.
He was the first guy from the 42-yard line. Here's Holcomb slinging it to the outside. It's caught and keeping him in bounds after the catch was made by Andre King. And it was Baoju keeping him in bounds, so they couldn't set up for another field goal attempt. That is the end of the first half. The Browns leading 14-10 for Love of Country, the Pat Tillman story. And we'll discuss the first half when we come back with the Lexus halftime show after this from the NFL and a word from our ABC stations.
The Lexus Halftime Show, brought to you by Lexus and their passionate pursuit of perfection. Here now, Al Michaels.
Halftime score is the Cleveland Browns 14 and the Green Bay Packers 10 at Lambeau Field. You know, one of the more fascinating offseason stories in the National Football League dealt with Pat Tillman, starting safety for the Arizona Cardinals. Good player. Team appears to be a lot better this year. So why would a 25-year-old pass up millions and millions of dollars to enlist in the Army? He began basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia on July 17th. Makes a long-term commitment. What's the deal with Pat Tillman? Well, Melissa Stark went down to Fort Benning to find out.
In the days following September 11th, Americans found new meaning in the word patriotism. We came together as a country and changed as individuals. Pat Tillman was no different.
I knew he felt very serious about it. You know, it hit him pretty deep, and I think it was just his way of doing something that he felt was right for his country and for himself.
Pat Tillman has always done what he felt was right, despite what others thought. As a freshman, he was a walk-on at Arizona State. As a senior, he was voted Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Year. Considered by many to be too small and slow to make it in the NFL, he became a starting safety for the Cardinals.
When you describe Pat Tillman, you don't begin as a football player, you just begin as a person. He's a guy that is very, very intelligent, and he has some very, very deep-seated convictions about things.
The things that were important to him were different than what's important to other people, especially around the National Football League.
He's not real glamorous. Pat doesn't have a cell phone and doesn't have a big house. He rode his bike to camp the first, month or two he was there.
If I could describe Pat, number one, he's honest. Point blank honest.
I call him old school because he's really, his word and the handshake is all he really needs.
I know the fiber and fabric of Pat Tillman. I've got a deep respect for his convictions. The decision that he made was not something that was just a fly-by-night decision, and it's also something that came from the heart.
Go, bro. Go that long. Go, not too bad.
We don't fully know the motivation for Tillman's decision because he's avoiding the media spotlight. He and his brother Kevin traveled from Arizona to Denver, Colorado to enlist so that fewer people would recognize him. He's denied all interview requests. He's asked that reporters not approach his family. He's even asked the Army to exclude him from its publicity. It's clear he does not want any special attention.
He told me, that the reason why he doesn't want to do any interviews because it makes him look, like he's more important than, a truck driver or a young kid who's given up, 3 years of his life to go fight for his country.
There is no special treatment. Once you step in here and your hair is removed from the top of your head and you put on this uniform, you are equal to the man to your left, right, front, and rear. Regardless of what you did before you volunteered to join the Army, it has no bearing on the way you're treated here.
Pat now routinely works 18-hour days for just over $15,000 a year. And in typical Tillman style, he set his goals high in the Army as well. Upon completion of basic training, he will continue in hopes of becoming part of the Army's elite strike force, the Airborne Rangers.
They're the guys that are going to do more and ask for nothing in return. And that's what truly sets them apart.
Less than half of those who try actually become Rangers. And if Pat is among them, he could be deployed into combat as early as January.
I respect him, and I respect his decision. You know, you talk about all these heroes today. Pat Tillman's really my hero.
I talked to the people at Fort Benning earlier today. Tillman is expected to complete basic training at the end of October, and then he begins his quest to become an Army Ranger. And for those people who think his days as a football player are over, think again. I talked to his agent, and after his 3-year commitment to the Army, Al, he plans to return to the NFL. He'll be 28 years old.
He'll be 28 years old, Melissa, and he'll be in very, very good shape. Good feature. Back with John after this. Back in Green Bay, where Tim Couch was 14 of 18 for 112 yards, John. And he looked very good, but then all of a sudden, we saw him going off the field. He had his elbow wrapped. It was hard to discern exactly what had happened.
Yeah, and that's always a bad sign. Like I said, when you have a right-handed quarterback and you see him going off with a big old bandage on his right arm, we have a picture of the last series or the last play that he was in. Now watch him as he throws that, and then you see how he just pulled his elbow up like that, and he started to shake. I think that's what it was. And then I don't know that was a forearm. I think maybe it was his right elbow.
Well, Cleveland has the lead. Let me ask you one question about, we expected to see Terry Glenn. They told us he'd play at least a little bit tonight. He hasn't. He had the baseball cap on. They're looking for him to be their #1 receiver. How comfortable can Brett and the Packers be going into the season with a #1 guy who may not play in preseason?
I think had everything gone the way they anticipated, Terry Glenn would have played tonight. But they kick off and the Browns run it back and they're down 7-0. Then they get down 14-0. And in their first quarter, they only had 6 plays. And then they went into the second quarter. This probably was, okay, we got this far. Let's just not play Terry Glenn. And I think that's going to be a work in progress. I mean, that's going to be something you weren't able to do in training camp. You're not going to be able to work on in preseason, and you're just going to have to do it as the season goes.
Yeah, and it opens up here against the Atlanta Falcons in 13 days. Well, we began with a bang tonight. Andre Davis ran the opening kickoff back, 93 yards for a touchdown, and Cleveland leads at the half. Back we come. Green Bay, Wisconsin, Lambeau Field. Beautiful night. Started the third quarter. Cleveland up 14-10. And John was talking about the way the game started for Green Bay. Brett Favre has only thrown 11 passes tonight. They've only run 17 plays. And so Brett has the helmet on. He's going to start the second half.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if he played, at least another 10 or 15 plays. I mean, as we talked earlier, that you assume 30 plays and a half, and when you only get 17, you're only about halfway to the number of plays you'd like to have a guy work.
And they don't want to play him very much on Friday night against Tennessee. With Javon Walker running back the kick. This is the #1 draft choice from Florida State. And he finally gets forced out of bounds up near the 40-yard line, and there's a flag down as Akins ran him out of bounds and may have run him out of bounds as a personal foul.
Again, it started the game off the second half the way Andre Davis started the game off. That's going to be against the Browns.
Face mask. Let's check in with Melissa.
Well, Al, official word from the Browns on quarterback Tim Couch. He is fine. He has a sore right elbow. X-rays were fine. But we'll continue to track that story to see if anything further develops. Now, right tackle Ryan Tucker, a key acquisition this offseason from the Rams. He has a sprained left ankle. He will not return.
So the thing with Couch now is Friday night and 4 nights they have a game against Carolina at home. And then they open up against Kansas City and Cincinnati. So their first 2 games are at home. First 2 weeks of the season.
Look at Favre's out there coaching. He's saying illegal motion.
He gives it to Green after sending Driver in motion.
What he did is he had 2 wide receivers, and they were both off the line on this side of the line of scrimmage. And so his tackle would have been eligible, but it was okay to make a running play out of it. And so I think he was just toying with him there. You see that? He has two guys both up, so he's trying there. He gets one up, now he's all right.
That's great.
Trying to make it look like it's a pass, and then he's going to run the ball. That's an old street move.
Second down and 5 from the 43-yard line. Henderson And he gets stood up 2 yards shy of the first down by the cornerback, Lewis Sanders. Mike Sherman, you know, you think back, John, to one of the reasons Mike Holmgren left. Mike had done so spectacularly well as a coach, but Ron Wolf was here, and you know, Ron was as good as they got in the NFL front office. And one of the reasons that Holmgren goes to Seattle is the fact that he can ascend to that position on 3rd and 1. And this is Amon Green who gets stopped short. And here's Mike Sherman as the Browns think they have come up with a fumble.
I think they just think they come up with a stop there because it was 3rd and short, and Dwayne Rudd was right there, and the Packers don't make this first down.
They don't make the first. Also thought the ball got dislodged, but it didn't.
He's right here, and you see again, Amon Green has the ball in his left hand. He's going down right there, and the ball did come out. You're right, the ball came out before he hit the ground. But they could still recover it, but that wasn't a first down anyway. You see, the ball comes out before he hits the ground. His knee's not down.
And Green Bay takes a timeout with a 4th down play coming up. Well, it's 4th down and 3 for Mike Sherman. The ball's at the 41-yard line, so you'd have the option of kicking a 58-yard field goal, punting, or going for it. They'll go for it.
Yeah, and I bet they go for it with some kind of option where Brett Favre will fake and bootleg out and have the option of running and or throwing it, always looking for the throw.
Leads 3, throws, gets that first down. Javon Walker, the #1 draft choice out of Florida State.
And Brett Favre really likes Javon Walker. He said, you know, after their play in Arizona, he said he dropped a couple, and on the airplane coming back, Javon Walker said, hey, don't think that's me. I'm a better player than that. Just stick with me. I will get better. I'll guarantee you. And Brett Favre, you know, 4th down. When you go to a guy on 4th down, you do believe in him. He's looking all the way, has good pass protection, no rush by the Browns. Ron Walker catches that.
Unnecessary roughness, 52, defense, 15 yards, first down.
And then because of Brant Boyer committing a personal foul, the Packers will go deep into Cleveland territory.
The type of thing that Butch Davis, you know, can point to and say, look, when someone gets a play, when they get a few things on you, you know, we can't have those kinds of things. Those are the stupid things that you give an offense like the Green Bay Packers or a quarterback like Brett Favre. It's going to end up 7 points on you when you do something like that.
1st and 10 from the 18-yard line. And the ball is handed off to Amon Green. Take a look at the personal foul coming up on Boyer.
Well, you see, it's right around the pile, and they're going to start calling these types of things when, you know, around the pile, when guys start to come and knock guys off the pile. It's usually an offensive guy. It's usually an offensive lineman. I'm not exactly sure what that one was. I mean, that call, I know they want to tighten up this year, but it's usually the offensive guy.
Hardly flagrant. No gain here. You know, John, we were talking about Sherman. I mean, here's Mike Sherman. Started to say ascending to all of the things that probably would have kept Holmgren here.
Right, and I remember talking to Mike Holmgren about that, you know, and having complete control. And well, then I said, geez, you can't have a better job than you have here. I mean, you're here with Ron Wolf, who's the best. There's no owner, and there's no better job than you have. And I said, I wouldn't leave Green Bay. I mean, no, Holmgren's not going to listen to me. Who the heck am I? But I said, I wouldn't leave Green Bay unless I could take Ron Wolf and Brett Favre with me. And that was my advice to him.
Good trifecta. 3rd down and 7. Favre buying time to the back of the end zone, but they can't stay in. Walker had to go up in the air to get it, and his feet couldn't come in.
And he knows it too, and that's one of the things with Brett Favre. And you see how he can have a play like that, know it should be a touchdown, and still laugh it. But as he's in shotgun here, and as he's going to move around, you have to move around. but you have to stay in bounds. I mean, you always have to know where you are so that this doesn't happen. I mean, you have to stay a couple yards in front of that end line. See, there was no reason for him to back up against that end line, so when he goes up for the ball, he's going to be out of bounds. You have to give your quarterback something to throw to so that this doesn't happen.
Brett can laugh at that in August, but would he laugh at that in November?
You know, he would. He would laugh at, and I know what he'd say. He'd say, there's plenty more where that came from. Don't worry.
Probably come right back to him. 33-yard attempt here by Longwell is good. Packers get on the board here on their opening drive in the third quarter. And Cleveland's lead is just one, 14-13. Two weeks from tonight, Monday Night Football, year 33, opening night of the regular season with the Steelers against the Patriots from Foxborough. Defending Super Bowl champs, Tom Brady and company.
And we talk about good coaches and the job that Bill Belichick does, but how about Bill Cowher, the job that he's done over the years? It seems like he loses players, coaches, everything, and still keeps coming back.
The Dean, juggled by Frisman Jackson, who recovers his own muff at the 23-yard line.
Here's Tim Couch. I thought that he looked very good in that first half. I mean, this was as perfect a throw as you can make on a deep ball. Here was one where it looked like he hurt his elbow. You see, he threw the ball and then kind of pulled it up, and he didn't come back. He went off the field after that, and he's still in the locker room. He hasn't come back in the field. They say that he's just in the locker room. The X-rays were negative, and he's in there icing his elbow.
Saw plenty of action, but Butch Davis wanted him to start the second half, give that first unit the feel of some urgency in the locker room at halftime. Know that the night wasn't done, but it's Holcomb here, and Holcomb urgently goes to the ground up at the 26-yard line when he sees Hardy Nickerson's countenance.
You know, we talk about how Brett Favre's out there and he's laughing and playing. Hardy Nickerson's doing the same thing. Hardy Nickerson's been around for so long that, you know, it can still be fun to him. And when you've been in the league for 16 years as a middle linebacker at Tampa and Jacksonville, and now with the Green Bay Packers, and he's always been one of those guys that, you know, I mean, they use the word locker room guy. He's a good locker room guy.
One of the reasons they brought him in, 2nd and 8. This is James Jackson, and he was their ace back last year. And James says, wait a second, don't give the job to William Green just yet. I'm still around.
Yeah, especially if they'll miss tackles like that. Nate Wayne had him, and he missed him. I mean, you're a linebacker. You know, if you're going to be a linebacker, you have to be able to tackle, and you have to be able to tackle in the open field. And he makes Nate Wayne. Watch Wayne right here, number 54. I mean, that is a bad tackle. That's a poor effort. I mean, you know, this isn't touch tackle. I mean, you have to do better than that. And as you come, you have to be aware. And like I say, James Jackson would like to be the starter again, but he only averaged 2.8 yards per carry last year.
That wouldn't have gotten a flag out in a flag football game. That was the Fuller leg. Holcomb going deep and getting position and making the catch is Northcutt all the way down at the 11-yard line.
And that time it was on Beaujeu. Remember, we showed the other one was on Sweeney. That one is on Beaujeu, who played some corner and safety. Here's Jew right here. Here's Northcutt. And you see him just take off. Jew's starting to look back, and as he turns, Northcutt just runs right by him. And you see, it's that old deal, when you're even, you're leaving. Once you get shoulder to shoulder, then they can just throw the ball up over. But it all starts right here. You have to get good pass protection. Look at the pass protection there and the perfect pocket so that Holcomb could step up.
Spotted at the 13-yard line, and that's a 45-yard gain for Holcomb, who's 5 of his first 6 for 74 yards. Jackson's the tailback, the fake to him. Holcomb to the end zone, and wide open, but the pass overthrown was Mark Campbell, who caught one last week in the game against Detroit.
Tell you one thing, I think that this Cleveland Brown, I mean, this is their second group now, but I think that their offensive line has done a heck of a job. I mean, the strength of the Packer defense is their defensive line this year, and they really, whether the quarterback was Tim Couch earlier or Kelly Holcomb later, they haven't really put a lot of pressure on it.
From the 13, toss to Jackson. Puts his shoulder down, and Bao Ju makes the tackle just inside the 10. Kevin McLeod threw a nice lead block.
I think they're going to start out here. You get a lead right out here. You just get a little pitch, good block right there. You take a guy down. Now you got to be able to take the ball and cut it upfield. Don't get up against that sideline where your cut's out of bounds. I mean, the minute that he had that block, he should have cut off that block and upfield. He really just ran himself out of bounds.
Bruce Arians sends the play in. It's 3rd down and 7 now from the 10-yard line. And that's incomplete to Dennis Northcutt. Had a lot of receivers in that same area.
Yeah, that was that screen. There was a screen pass to the wide receiver. You know, the old play the Chicago Bears started running 3 or 4 years ago. And to me, I've always felt that a screen pass, and maybe Butch Davis is saying that right now, that a screen pass on 3rd down is a give-up play. I never really did like that in order to get a 1st down, or in that case, a touchdown.
28-yard field goal attempt for Phil Dawson, who missed from 51 and had the 50-yarder blocked and run back for a touchdown. And this time he converts with 9:13 remaining in the 3rd. So Cleveland has led from the outset, from the opening kickoff return. 17-13 Browns. Lambeau Field, that's tradition, and so is Notre Dame football. That's tradition. The Fighting Irish and new coach Ty Willingham against Maryland. That's this Saturday night, prime time. The Irish and the Terrapins here on ABC Sports. Davenport from the 8-yard line, and a rookie out of Miami with a good run back here out toward midfield to the 49-yard line.
Yeah, we're not going to see any more of Brett Favre, but we're talking all night about the pocket and how he operates in the pocket. And this is what a pocket is. You have to have pass protection plus lanes. You see how he gets back there, and he can look, and these are throwing lanes. You see right here, he has a throwing lane right there, and then he has a throwing lane over on this side. So you not only need protection and a pocket so that you can step up, but you also have to have lanes that you can throw through.
What graphics.
Yeah, all the way around. You can see it from every angle around the world with a pocket.
Up to the 47-yard line. Amon Green for a gain of 2.
You talk about the guy that is a quarterback's best friend, and Amon Green has really become that guy for Brett Favre. Not only his running, but his pass receiving. I mean, that if he gets in trouble, that's a guy that he would always look for.
There's Green, his 2 years here. First Packer player to lead team in consecutive seasons in all 3 categories. And of course, that's saying something with a franchise with this tradition.
Yeah, I think he's 2 things. I think he's the running back when you need a running back, and a tight end when you need a receiver for Brett Favre.
Now here's Doug Peterson taking over for Favre, and he has that pass knocked down by Alvin McKinley.
Yeah, we're talking about pockets, and here's a case where it gets collapsed, where you don't have the lanes. As you have the pocket, it has to be a pocket, and then it has to be a lane. See, he goes play pass, and now he goes for the lane. He's looking for the lane back here, and you see right here, he's going to step in, and with that hand, he's going to take away the lane. See, he had a lane, but then defensive linemen know if you can't get to the quarterback, then get to his lane. And that's exactly what happened here. He got to and took away the lane.
Injury on the field. Felipe Claybrooks is hurt. Defensive lineman. Injury timeout. Browns were dominant in the first quarter when they led 14-0. Ran the opening kickoff back for a touchdown. Andre Davis scored, so they have a big edge in time of possession, big edge in yardage, but only a 4-point edge on the scoreboard. Claybrooks assisted off the field as the Packers now on 3rd down and 8 with Peterson out of the shotgun working against the 4-man rush, and he gets hit as he tried to throw. The Packers recovered, and that was Mark Word coming around the corner and jarring the football loose.
And that's where Doug Peterson has to step up, because Mark Ward just come right around that corner, as you said, and he just gets Peterson. It's like Peterson didn't even know. I mean, here comes Word right here. And watch, right there, he gets to the shoulder. Now he's off the shoulder, and he just grabs Peterson by the back arm. A quarterback has to feel that left tackle coming up the field. Then you have to step up to let your tackle run him beyond.
Josh Bidwell punting. Dennis Northcutt holds it in at the 11-yard line. Gets around the corner. Down the sideline he goes. And finally taken down from behind at the 35, but there's a flag all the way back at the 13-yard line. So he can be exultant, but very temporarily.
That sounded like a race call. And down the stretch he goes, and there he goes.
But there's an inquiry.
There is. They're going to bring this one back, too. Yep. You can always tell the coach that gets the maddest is the
illegal
coach.
block in the back, 55 during the return. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
And that's Butch Davis's team that just got penalized.
Yeah, well, he's mad at the call. Now he's mad at Anthony Denman. 7:30 remaining in the third. 17-13 Cleveland. Monday Night Football brought to you by Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with a crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you. Jeep, makers of Grand Cherokee, Wrangler, and the all-new Jeep Liberty. And Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37. Oh, that's great. Cleveland at the 6-yard line, first down.
Listen to these fans. They know their defense, too, don't they?
Yeah, even though it's preseason, they're in regular season throat as James Jackson gets taken down by Kabir Baja-Biamila, who was the pass rush specialist last year, who broke in with a bang.
And he still is. I mean, he's getting bigger and stronger, and he's playing the run better. You just see him here. He just starts down the line, and he's so quick and fast and such a good tackler. You know, I mean, he knows how to get someone and get him to the ground. Usually it's a quarterback. In that case, it's a running back.
Second down and 13.
He's over on this side this time. There he is again.
Almost gets sacked in the end zone and then throws it away.
They'll line Baja-Biamila up on either side. We saw him to play before. He was on the right side. That play he was on the left side, the left defensive end, and he runs a stunt. If you watch it, the tackle's going to come out, and he's going to come to the inside. He starts here, and then he's going to come in this way, and then the tackle comes out. That's called a twist. See, the tackle will come out now, and he just goes to the inside. Well, the tackle's coming all the way around. Almost got there.
Third down and 13. They string it out to the right. 3 receivers to that side. Holcomb throws and converts on third down, and that's Frisman Jackson making the catch. So instead of punting from the back of their end zone, they have a first down after a 24-yard gain.
That was a heck of a throw by Kelly Holcomb. I'm standing in there because he got popped just as he threw that ball. I mean, you know, he's talking about having to be tough when you know that you're getting a rush. And you have to forget about the rush. You have to look downfield, and you see that pop just as he threw the ball. Watch Biamila right there. Pop him just as he throws it. He goes to step up just as he throws it, and he still makes that completion.
Now it's a first down of the 27-yard line. Holcomb going deep and incomplete. A flag is thrown, though, as Marcus Anderson, the rookie from UCLA, bumps into Dennis Northcutt.
Kelly Holcomb's looking pretty good. Tim Couch started out and looked strong. Kelly Holcomb come in. Of course, Bruce Arians is the offensive coordinator, and he came over from Indianapolis, and Holcomb was there with him.
Defense. First down.
So he has a pretty good feeling of this offense. You can see Marcus Anderson is just beat. So as he goes, well, that doesn't look too bad, though. He just put his head down. But he got turned around. See, and that's supposed to be the rule, that if you turn your head towards the ball, that's okay.
Well, Northcote was stopping.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like he wasn't going to get turned, like he was just going to run right into him, but he did get his head turned.
That's why Anderson was arguing that play, and it turns out to be a 34-yard penalty. And now Jackson finds no room to the left side, tries to cut it back, and gets taken down behind the line of scrimmage by Paris Lennon. And let's check in with Melissa.
All right, Al. Well, William Green, the first-round draft pick out of Boston College, you told me that you were slowly but surely finding your comfort zone. 9 carries for 28 yards, 3 catches for 16. What have you learned tonight?
I learned, I just got to keep getting a feel for the game. It's, my 3rd preseason game, and I'm learning it, son, every time I go. So I'm just happy to be out here and get this experience under my belt before the regular season starts.
One of the knocks on you is that you don't have that 4.3, 4.4 speed. What do you say to that?
Well, this is football. It's not track. And with the ball in my hand, I'm just as fast as anybody out there, so I don't worry about that.
One of the things you were looking forward to doing tonight was playing against this Packers defense, particularly Gilbert Brown. What'd you think?
It was a good experience for me. I remember being a kid watching them play in the Super Bowl, but once I get out there, they're trying to rip my head off. All that goes out the door. So it was a good experience for me. I'm glad I got a chance to come up here and play against him.
Good luck this season.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Al, you got to love that smile. He's a remarkable story.
And Butch Davis telling us last night he wants him to be his opening day running back against Kansas City a week from Sunday. Josh Booty is the quarterback, and that pass is incomplete, so Holcomb comes out of the game. And Booty, who's played baseball, in fact, he played Major League Baseball, and a few years ago he was the Florida Marlins starting 3rd baseman, albeit a very short-lived pro baseball career, now trying to win a job as the number 3 quarterback.
Well, and John Lynch, the defensive back of the Tampa Bay, was also with the Marlins, wasn't he?
Lynch?
Didn't John Lynch pitch the first game the Marlins played or something? Something like that.
Exhibition, a preseason game. And that punt is into the end zone. It is a touchback.
Just watching William Green there, and Melissa was asking him about Big Gilbert Brown, and I don't know if he knew that was Gilbert Brown that he ran into. And sometimes you play a game and you get dinged and you get hit, and you don't even know who the guy was, and you look at it on film and say, man, I ran right into big old Gilbert there.
There is Gilbert, who's hopeful of playing a lot more this year. I mean, he's been limited because of his weight to, maybe 20 plays a game.
Yeah, and he has to play more than that because now he's kept his weight down a couple of years, and I think that he's going to be better for the Packers this year than he was last year.
It's an 8-yard gain as the catch is made by Charles Lee, his first catch of the game. He's a guy who figures to make this team.
Yeah, I mean, they have such a bunch of guys, with Ferguson and Driver and Walker and Charles Lee and Terry Glenn, on the men, but they don't have the 2 or 3 top guys yet. These are the guys. I mean, they don't. Brett Favre doesn't have his guys yet.
2nd and 2, slinging to the outside, breaking tackles, and picking up 11 is Rondell Mealy. We talked about the changeover amongst the wide receivers for the Green Bay Packers, and as they go into the season, Glenn has caught none. Of course, he just got here. Ferguson 0 in his 2nd year. None for Walker, the rookie. Lee's caught 13. Driver 35. So there are the 5 key wide receivers that Brett Favre will be throwing to this year, and he hasn't hooked up with very many of them. In fact, only 2 for 30 or 48 catches as the catch here is made by Ferguson across midfield.
And that's what Mike Sherman is hoping, that one of these guys, whether it be Driver or Ferguson or Lee, someone steps up. I mean, he's counting that Terry Glenn is going to be a guy. He's going to get healthy and be the guy. Then that second guy has to be one of these guys.
Ferguson out of Texas A&M, their 2nd-round pick last year, but inactive for just about every game. From the 49-yard line, Peterson throws, and that's Lee making the catch on the outside.
You know, one of the other things I think when we talk about those receivers, I think there's something else you have to think of is Amon Green. I mean, that maybe their wide receivers don't catch all the balls. Maybe Amon Green does. And the other guy that I think has to be ready to break out, and not just on the goal line, is Bubba Franks.
Yep. Even though he went to the Pro Bowl last year, you're right.
Yeah, he went to the Pro Bowl because he had touchdowns and they would start to throw to him in the 5-yard line. But I mean, he has to make plays in the middle of the field and all over the field and become something like Mark Chmura was years ago for Brett Favre. I mean, I think that's part of it. Bubba Franks coming through, Amon Green catching a lot of balls, and then a couple of receivers fitting in.
There's Neely picking up the first down. I just want to know one thing, John. Here we are in Green Bay. Did you have a brat?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I had a brat. In fact, I think I had 100 brats, and we cooked them out there by the bus somewhere. And I had one on the way in, and I'll have one on the way out.
I love everything about this place except one thing. I quit smoking 20 years ago. I feel like I'm a carton of Marlboros right now.
Well, yeah, they do. I mean, you have to get through some of that, and you have to get through a little thick cheese once in a while.
Right. Cheese, brats, cigarettes, the whole thing. From the 37-yard line on first down. The catch is made here by Robert Ferguson, and Ferguson takes it to the 32. Update on Tim Couch. Let's check in with Melissa.
Well, Al, for those of you who weren't with us, he went into the locker room with ice on his right elbow. Before the end of the second quarter, he had x-rays at halftime. Those x-rays were negative, but official word from the team, he has a mild strain in his right elbow, and he is going to undergo a precautionary MRI tomorrow in Cleveland, just to be sure. But tonight, he'll stay in the locker room with ice on it for the rest of the game.
And again, they play in 4 days, their final preseason game, and open in 13. This is dumped off to Chris Gall, and look at him go. Touchdown. Third-team fullback, and he does the Lambeau leap at 6 feet, 247 pounds into the first row.
I saw him run in practice just like that the other day, and you know that was the other key breaker. Watch this play. It's a bootleg to the left. One thing you know about the Packers, anytime Brett Favre is going to bootleg, it's always going to be to the right. Here, he's going to come out to the left. You see fake and come out to the left. Here's a fullback right here. The Browns didn't expect it. No one expects a bootleg to their left when you play the Green Bay Packers, and now's the time you want to do that.
Ryan Longwell converts, and for the first time tonight, the Green Bay Packers take the lead. It takes them almost a full 3 quarters. The score comes with 50 seconds remaining in the third.
You know, I was watching him run the other day. Ball, he was running the same way. I mean, he's one of those guys who would take the ball and then run it 50 yards down the field. And I'm saying, you know, that's the way you're supposed to practice. And then you wonder why, you know, an old fullback like this is running like this. But he just did the very same thing in practice and then just kept on running. Of course, he didn't have a Lambeau leap in practice. He has pretty good guns on him, too, doesn't he? Pretty thick guy. You got to bend those hips, get down when you're ready to get hit. Splash out. He doesn't know where to go.
Yeah, well, that's pretty scary if you're sitting in the first row and this guy's coming at you.
He said, I've seen this thing done on television before. Is this how they do it? Only in Lambeau. Look at these fans. I mean, you know, this is the type of crowd and the type of reaction and stuff that you would expect in a playoff game. And then they go preseason. They just love football here in Green Bay and here in Wisconsin.
Well, the whole town. I mean, it's green and yellow everywhere you go. Everything.
And the fans have been great for the Green Bay Packers. And I'll say this: the Green Bay Packers and their organization over the years have been great for the fans.
And this year, the expectations as high as they can be coming off a 12-4 season, as Longwell's kick is fielded by Andre King at the 12, and King brings it back to the 33. Well, the NFL this year is going to kick off on Thursday night, September 5th, the earliest opening in terms of preceding the regular weekend. A Thursday night game. ESPN has the game, and the 49ers and the Giants in a great matchup beginning at 8:30 Eastern time. So San Francisco against New York. As you look at Bob Harlan, the major domo of the Green Bay Packers president, CEO. And his team will open up on Sunday, as will the Cleveland Browns. And then the Monday night opener, of course, is our game on the 9th, Pittsburgh at New England. James Jackson.
They're getting a little fire in that defense. And you know, another big thing that's happening tomorrow is the first mandatory cut down day, and each team has to cut down to 65 players, and they get exemptions for their NFL Europe players. But there's a lot of players here. There's probably about 20 on each team that tomorrow are going to hear from the Turk and say that your days with this team are over.
And most of them probably know it too. You don't want to hear it, but you know it. James Jackson will end the third quarter with that run. So we played 3 at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. The Packers lead the Browns 20-17. And ABC's Monday Night Football returns after this from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television. Getting ready to start the fourth quarter. Al Michaels, John Madden, and Melissa Stark in Green Bay. A reminder that the Dodger Diamondback game is on ESPN, so SportsCenter is on ESPN2 tonight at the conclusion of Monday Night Football.
Hey, you got big gap.
Third down and 4 for the Cleveland Browns. Josh Booty played his college football at LSU, throws, and it's intercepted. And a free run to the end zone for Todd Franz.
All these young guys are getting a Lambeau leap.
His first.
And we said it started with a defensive back, a safety, and Franz is a safety. And again, the shotgun here. He has time, and then take away the lane there, make him throw the ball. Franz was just sitting back there in a zone, and he watched it all the way and got a good jump on it.
Longwell for the point after. Jared Tomich put the pass rush on that forced Booty to throw. Franz runs it back, and the Packers extend their lead over Cleveland to 10. A reminder, the Drew Carey Show and Whose Line Is It Anyway premiere early. In fact, Monday, September 9th, along with the regular season premiere of Monday Night Football. Drew and Whose Line now on Mondays, 2 weeks from tonight. Ryan Longwell's kickoff. Fielded up at about the 12-yard line by Andre King. He brings it back to the 30. Director of pro personnel for the Packers, with his back to us and behind the post right now, is Reggie McKenzie. He was a linebacker with the Raiders, the 49ers, the Cardinals. In fact, Rawley McKenzie was his twin brother. He's the guy known as the Turk, and that means he's the guy that tells the player, son, you're unemployed.
Or, son, the coach wants to see you and bring your playbook.
Who was your Turk?
I think it was Ron Wolf. And Ron Wolf, who was the general manager and president and everything here of the Green Bay Packers, and he was great at it.
Booty throws here, and that's caught by Jawan Dawson.
We used to train in Santa Rosa, and we had a quad. And what Ron would do is he would, on cut day, he would come out and he'd walk out in the middle of the quad and he'd light a cigarette. In those days he smoked, and he would smoke a cigarette so that all the players could see that he was coming out, so they knew the Turk was coming. Now the other thing, I swear this is true, he wore taps on his shoes.
No.
He had taps on the toes and taps in the heels. So then he'd start walking down the road, and you'd hear tap, 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 tap coming down the hall, and every player would stand there scared to death that he was going to stop his taps at their play.
That pass is nearly picked again. It sounds like he loved it.
No. He was a shy guy. He hated it, but he had to do it. No, he did the cigarette so they'd see him because he didn't want to sneak up on anyone. Then he did the taps because he didn't want to. And then as he tapped and he went by your room, then you were relieved again. And then you waited. But when the tap stopped at your room, then everyone would go like this. And then Ron would come in and say, bring your playbook, the coach wants to see you. And that meant the end.
Did you ever have a guy come close to talking you out of cutting him?
No. You know, most of the time they know the toughest cuts were the veteran players who've been with you for a long time. Like George Blanda was a very difficult cut. Ben Davidson was a tough cut.
That's Autry Denson carrying the ball. How, when you cut George Blanda, I mean, he's like 100 years old at that time. I mean, what was George, like 47?
Yeah, he was always 10 years older than me, and I'd get older and he'd get younger. But George didn't leave.
What did he say to you?
No, I mean, he said okay, and you know, let the other guy try it, but he thought the other guy would foul it up, and we'd want him back. And George stayed in camp after we waived him for at least 2 weeks.
3rd and 9.
Wouldn't go home.
This is Denson again, and the Packers swarm, led by Torrance Marshall.
Like I was talking to Tim Couch last night about George Blanda, because we were talking about quarterbacks that came out of Kentucky, and there weren't a lot of them, and George Blanda was one of them. Babe Pirelli was one. I mean, that's going way back.
Yeah, and not much since.
No, I mean, that's why Tim Couch is a pretty special guy.
That's Jay Taylor into punt. Robert Ferguson makes the catch and gets buried at the 29-yard line with 12:40 to play here in the 4th quarter. Green Bay up by 10 at home. Couple of old buddies, Brett Favre in his 12th season and Frank Winters in his 15th season.
Hey, and Frank even looks younger, doesn't it?
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Mike Sherman said he told Frank Winters, he said, you're just starting the second half of your career now.
First down, new running back. This is Tony Fisher, rookie out of Notre Dame. Let's check in with Melissa.
Al, this is Hardy Nickerson's 16th season as either an inside or a middle linebacker. How do you prepare to face the rigors of a 16-game season?
Well, work hard, good diet. My wife fixes good food for me. And, you know, I love the game, so it's not hard for me to get prepared for it.
As you're in your 7 years as a Buccaneer, you played against Brett Favre 2 times a year. Is he still the same player?
He's still the same player. Still gritty, still competitor. He's a winner. And I figure at this point, if I couldn't beat him, I might as well join him.
All right, we have a treat now. Your son, Hardy Jr., is 8 years old. He played in a Pop Warner game here tonight at halftime. I want you to analyze the tape.
Well, you know, he's working off blocks there, running around. He's working that arm over, trying to get to the football. Look at nice hustle. Good pursuit. Doesn't give up. Playing like his dad.
You taught him well. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Al, believe it or not, Hardy Nickerson has never won a game at Lambeau Field. That's 8 regular season games and 1 in the playoffs.
Well, that streak is going to come to an end pretty soon, I would think. 3rd down and 3, and there's a near interception at the 45-yard line.
You know, anyone,
Leroy Jones almost picked it.
No, I was just going to say, anyone that's been a 50 number all his life like Hardy Nickerson, you want your kid to be an 80 number or a T number. You don't want, you want it to be a 50, a 60, or a 70, unless he's a long snapper.
Yep. Or single digit.
I think every coach in the world teaches his kid to be a long snapper. If you can be a long snapper, you'll always have a job.
Well, here's Louis Aguiar, who's had a lot of jobs, but it would be very tough for him to supplant Josh Bidwell as Andre Davis brings it back to the 35. But Bidwell, when he kicked before, with a flag down on the play, was limping off. So Aguiar punting here, and see what we can find out about Josh Bidwell. We also have a personal foul now, a face mask coming up on Green Bay.
I think one thing, a guy like Louis Aguiar.
Personal foul, grasping and twisting the face mask. 87, kicking team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
So 11:08 remaining now in the 4th quarter. Hardy Nickerson, father and son. Coming up in just 3 weeks, John Ritter and Katie Segal are married with kids in the new comedy 8 Simple Rules. for Dating My Teenage Daughter. It premieres on Tuesday night, September 17th at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on ABC. Now this is Booty handing the ball off to Denson on first down. Cleveland getting nice production out of its quarterbacks through preseason play. This is their 3rd game. 116 rating for Couch, 114 for Kelly Holcomb. So at least in camp and beyond, they have fared well.
Well, and that's one of the goals that they had going into camp, is being more efficient, moving the chains, getting a higher completion percentage, and maybe throwing some shorter, quicker passes and not having to force things or get in trouble.
2nd and 5. My man Steve Hurt informs me the leading passer in the NFL for in pass rating thus far in preseason, Tommy Maddox.
Tommy
Pittsburgh.
Maddox,
yeah,
the old UCLA. Didn't he come out as a sophomore? Remember that? He went to Denver and didn't do anything for years and was out of football. And the last time I saw him, he started to look pretty good.
Yeah, the heir apparent to John Elway at one point, and now all of a sudden, well, who knows? In Pittsburgh, with Cordell Stewart not playing in their preseason game the other night, Maddox playing, Charlie Batch playing.
And the other thing that proved, we talk about cut down to 65. That doesn't always mean the end anymore. With NFL Europe and arena ball and guys, practice squad guys, I mean, there's a lot more opportunities for players.
Denson out in the flat, makes the catch, steps out of bounds at the 27. First down. Oh, where'd that sound come from? Well, look at this. You know what we've done, folks? We're going to have a player of the game each of the 17 Monday night games, and that player's picture is going to wind up on the horse trailer.
And then we're going to haul it all over the country. And, so the guy's picture will be there, and then we'll haul it from spot to spot, and the guy will be all over the world.
Well, here's Denson. So now you're going to have the Madden Cruiser out on the highway, and I don't think the horse trailer can get up to the speed that the Madden Cruiser can.
No, it doesn't. But I'm getting a new Madden Cruiser next week. We're getting a new bus, and it has a trailer hitch on it. It really does.
No.
I swear. Yeah. So I can't. I mean, if we ever get in trouble, I don't know if we're in trouble or not. But if we ever get in trouble, we could hitch the horse trailer up to the bus, and we could just kind of caravan across the country.
Don't give business affairs any ideas, would you? But we're going to have the guy's picture will be on the side of the horse trailer.
Yeah.
Going across the country all 17 weeks. 2nd down and 6 from the 23. Dropped by Booty. And recovered by Booty.
Yeah, now we don't have to, but say, for example, in this game, if we were going to pick someone for the horse trailer, who would you pick?
In this game, Darren Sharper played brilliantly, albeit briefly, in the second. Scored a touchdown, had a great defensive series.
Yeah, that's who I would pick too, because he took over the game. I mean, I know it's a preseason game, and I think that Cleveland looked a lot better than the Green Bay when they had their first against first. But there was one point where this guy took over the game. There was one series, and I think that kind of changed the whole momentum of the game.
But it won't count. He's not going to get his picture on this week.
It's just talk.
Nope.
Not going anywhere.
And this is caught close to a first down by Jawan Dawson, but it's going to give them the impetus in their 2 regular season appearances on Monday night to get on the horse trailer for real.
Right, and he could say, if that had been a regular season game, therein would have been me.
And here's what Sharper did.
He was just waiting for that hit to unload there. Then he came on a blitz and stopped the run. Then he made this tackle. That's a great tackle. And that's the way you're supposed to tackle. And then he made this coverage. And he picked up this field goal block right here, took it into the end zone, and then jumped up into the stands. What more can you ask of a guy?
Now a 36-yard field goal attempt, and that one is by Jay Taylor. Officially 35. Sharper looking on with Butler, and Butch Davis watches his team give up 3 more. 27-10 Green Bay. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Ford No Boundaries. Olive Garden, where the great Italian food tells you when you're here, you're family. And Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. That is the Ray Nitschke Bridge here in Green Bay.
And there's Ray Nitschke, who was one of the great football players, a great Packer, and I knew Ray very well, and a great guy. I mean, he was really what it's all about.
From the goal line, Najee Davenport brings it back out to the 24 with a pack up by 7. Let's check in with Melissa.
Kevin Johnson has been the Browns' leading receiver each of the last 3 years. Your quarterback, Tim Couch, has a strained right elbow. How concerned is the team right now?
Well, hopefully it's not too serious, and hopefully Couch bounces back pretty quickly. And, you know, we need him for the season, and doctors are saying it's not too serious, so we expect him back this week.
You signed a 4-year contract extension just recently. How much peace of mind does that give you?
Well, I definitely think it's, you know, it keeps a piece of the puzzle in place so we can try to get this team to postseason. I think the coaching staff brought some, you know, good players in this offseason to help us out, and you know, I think I'm a very important part of it. So I think by getting that done, I think a lot of our core is still together, and we can fight to get the postseason.
Coming off a year in which you were 7-9, one of the biggest surprises in the NFL, a lot of expectations for this team. How far do you think you guys can go?
Well, I just think we're going to take it game by game, and you know, just slowly, you know, tick away at it, and hopefully when we come to December, you know, we'll be fighting to get into January play, and I think a lot of pieces of the puzzle are in place, and you know, guys are really excited to start the season off.
Thanks a lot. Good luck this season.
Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you, Melissa. As the new quarterback is Craig Knoll, and he hands the ball off here to Fisher, and there's a marker.
Knoll's job here is to start to get some first downs and take some time off this clock so the Browns don't get the ball back and tie this thing up. Although I wonder what would happen if the Browns were to get the ball back and were to score, if they would go for 2 or not.
Face mask, 5 yards, 90, defense. Still second down.
No, you notice that Walt Coleman, the referee, doesn't have that ugly mic that they had on last Monday night and the Monday night before that?
I think we retired it.
Yeah, they did away with that thing. That was the doggonest thing I'd ever seen. I don't know where the mic is now, but that other one looked like it was growing out of his cheek.
That mic is under the horse trailer now. Second and 3 from the 30-yard line. Bursting through the middle, it's Tony Fisher for a first down.
This was the first week. Remember this one here?
Right.
What in the heck is that deal? And then the second week it was down in here. And then the first week I didn't know what it was, and I was afraid to say anything.
Right. You thought the numbers had a growth or something.
Well, I was afraid of that.
Yeah.
And now you can see it's down there on the lapel there.
Much better.
And then it's the same color as the shirt, and it blends in. And good referee always keeps his whistle in his mouth, even though when you have to blow it.
From the 42-yard line, Rondell Mealy.
One of the things the Packers want is Mealy to step up to be that second guy. You know, I mean, Amon Green obviously is the guy, and he's going to be the running back, but who's the second guy that spells Amon Green? He would like Mealy to be that, but he's not sure. Mike Sherman isn't sure that Mealy is the guy.
He knows enough about him. He knows that he can count on Green, but with Mealy, he's been here for a couple of camps. He's third-year guy, 7th-round pick in 2000. And he's trying to cement that role here against the backup units of the Cleveland defense. A couple of yards there. Denman with the tackle.
Yeah, if I were to ask you a question, said, you know, the longest careers of Green Bay players, well, they played here. Number 1 was Bart Starr, 16 seasons.
Right.
Ray Nitschke, who we just talked about, was second. He played here 15 years. Forrest Gregg was third. He played here 14 years. So those are the top 3. Who would be the 4th in all-time Packer history? 4th most career games as a Packer. Most career years as a Packer.
Good question. Jim Taylor?
No. He played a long time ago, and he was a back and an old pulling guard.
On 3rd and 8, that catch is made here by Chris Jackson for a first down. He was a back and a pulling guard.
And then they made him a pulling guard, and then he was a guard, and then he was a professional wrestler too.
What was this guy's name? I'm trying to. This was
Buckets.
Goldenberg.
Buckets Goldenberg is the fourth. He played for whatever it was, 13 years to bang. And what they used to do is they called, you know, your hips. I mean, in this area here, they call that your bucket. And they used to say, keep your bucket low. And Buckets Goldenberg would always keep his bucket low, and that's why he was such a good blocker. And that's how he got the name Bucket.
I think he was a Wisconsin guy.
Yes, he was a Wisconsin guy. And he was on the board of the Packers for years. And Buckets Goldenberg is a guy here in Green Bay.
Mealy again. You know, he also owned a restaurant?
Buckets did, yeah.
Yep, in Milwaukee.
Lee Remmel told me that. But that's the thing that they used to, you know, always tell blockers to, you know, to keep your bucket low. And we lost the word. We've lost a lot of good words.
We'll have to bring them back.
In football, yeah, buckets. We were like before the guy was talking about Postum. Where did Postum go? Didn't we used to have Postum?
Tom Postum.
No, we used to drink Postum. I don't even know if Postum's still a thing.
I know our buddy Tom Poston is watching tonight. He watches every Monday night game, and he'll be watching those four as well. Pittsburgh at New England, Philly at Washington. So Spurrier's second game is our second attraction. The Rams and the Bucs have become a great rivalry. And then Denver goes to Baltimore to wrap up September. Among other things, that's Shannon Sharp. Now back in Denver, going back to Baltimore.
You know, and talking about Steve Spurrier, and I was talking, when we were talking to Butch last night, I was thinking, you know, that there are college coaches that come into pro football, but there are pro coaches that are in college. And to me, Butch Davis is that kind of guy. He's a pro coach that coached college and came back to pro. Steve Spurrier, to me, is a pro coach that just happened to be coaching in college.
For a long time and extremely well.
And I think they make the adjustment pretty easily.
Here's Mealy with a 38. Now, I can't wait to see the Redskins. I mean, that's going to be great. If nothing else, I mean, it's great theater. It's great drama. Everybody's talking about it.
Steve Spurrier is an offensive Buddy Ryan. You know, whatever you say, you know, whatever is on his mind, he's going to say it. And I'll tell you, coaches don't like those kind of guys because you never know what they're going to do because they're not afraid to fail. You know, I mean, Buddy Ryan, when he used to go, he didn't care. And I don't think Steve Spurrier cares. And that's the most dangerous opponent that you can have.
See what Spurrier's done in preseason. He's averaging over 37 points per game as Tony Fisher takes the ball to the 30-yard line for a first down. You know, you called him an offensive Buddy Ryan. I thought of offensive as an adjective. In another way.
It could be as an adjective in another way. They're both the same way. I mean, they say what's on their mind, and when I say not afraid, I mean they're not afraid to say something or try something or do something.
2-minute warning in Green Bay. The Packers trying to hold on up by a touch. Craig Knoll, now the quarterback, trying to win a job on the roster. 5th-round pick from Northwestern State in Louisiana. And you know it's Favre, obviously, number 1. Peterson's going to be number 2. And Knoll trying to hang on. First and 10 at the 30-yard line, up by 7. Cleveland with 2 timeouts remaining. And Green Bay taking time off the clock and picking up yardage. Gain of 8 for Tony Fisher. And let's check in with Melissa.
Well, believe it or not, Alan John, quarterback Craig Knoll says that one of the best parts of being in the NFL is being in the Madden 2003 video game. And he recently received a call, however, from all of his friends back home in Louisiana who have been playing the game, telling him how bad he is. And I asked him about it. He said, yeah, they gave me a hard time. They told me I was a sorry player, just awful. He doesn't care, though. He's just glad to be in it.
How realistic is that game? He just got intercepted by Dwayne Rudd.
Right. We're always ready. We're always watching them. We start watching them when they're in grammar school.
2nd and 2. And that's across the 20 to the 19-yard line. Rondell Mealy. You're going to have to get the horse trailer on the game next year.
Right. The horse trailer will be on the game. And then the player of the game will get on the horse trailer on the game. And Craig Knoll has really done his job. You know, we talked about how has to move the chains, get some first downs, not let Cleveland get the ball back, and an overtime possibility. And he's gone in and done all those things.
That was Fisher, by the way, not Mealy. Mealy trying to win the number 2 job. Fisher just trying to win a job. And ESPN.com is the place to go for the latest NFL news, analysis from John. NFL.com, your other site. 1st and 10 from the 19-yard line. Fisher again to the 18. And Cleveland just letting the clock run out. So they got their work in. Packers come from behind, erase a 14-0 deficit. Mike Sherman's team wins another one in preseason. And less than a fortnight now to when it really counts, when it opens up for these teams a week from Sunday. We'll find out what Butch Davis thinks. Also get the latest about Tim Couch from the Browns head coach when we come back. Packers win it 27-20.
Hey, baby, what's your sign? Guess it's not stop. Whoa, disco traffic. Hot mama. Hey, want to make a collect call?
Sure.
You do? Oh, great, just use 1-800-CALL-ATT. I'll show you. Just dial it in the center with 1-800-CALLATT. It's free for you and cheap for them.
Wow, thank you.
You got it. Well, you know what's going to happen now? Couples of them. Is it the skates?
Save on every call. Use 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls.
The Nissan Altima.
Green Bay wins it by a score of 27-20. If you're a Browns fan, a lot to be happy about. With Tim Couch looking pretty good tonight, John, but a lot to be mildly concerned about in regard to his elbow.
Yeah, and I think that has to be a concern. I think you know, you look at Tim Couch and he started off. He looked very sharp. His pass protection was good. He was throwing the ball well, and then you look here, he did something to his elbow. He has a strain, and he went in at halftime, never did come back out. And you just hope that it's just something that, you know, be a week or two.
So assuming Couch is okay, let's say Green comes along as the running back. And you looked at the Browns tonight, and they're playing in the new AFC North. What do you envision?
Well, I like them. I think Trey Johnson getting back at guard was a big thing for him. And then they get Ryan Tucker hurt. So you have to assume that Ryan Tucker's okay, because that was one of the things that Butch Davis was talking about, is solidifying that offensive line. And I thought that they did very well, because the strength of the Green Bay Packers is their pass rush, and I thought they handled that. I thought Tim Couch, was able to hit his receivers and had time, and they were impressive.
Apart from the fact he hasn't seen Terry Glenn, how does Mike Sherman feel about his team right now?
Well, he can't feel good about it because of that. I mean, Brett Favre has a bunch of guys, 5 or 6 guys, but he doesn't have, you can say he doesn't have a second or third. He doesn't have a first yet. Right. And, so you're going to have to start off the season, and Amon Green's going to have to take a big part of the load. And then the other thing, like I said during the game, I think Bubba Franks, someplace has to step up here.
Can't wait to get to Foxborough.
No, I can't wait either. I mean, this is nice, and being in Green Bay is great, and Lambeau Field in the last preseason. But next time we do it, it's counting.
Drive safely or ride safely. On the 9th from Foxborough, Green Bay wins it. The final score: Packers 27 and the Cleveland Browns 20. 2 weeks from tonight, we open it up for real. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots. Year 33 of Monday Night Football. Al Michaels, John Madden, Melissa Stark. Good night from Lambeau Field in Green Bay.
Castro Nevis has won the Indianapolis 500. The Red Wings have won the Stanley Cup.
New world champion. Are you kidding me? Best final round ever. They're out of their seat.
That is picture perfect.
Inside the 20. Goes all the way for a touchdown. They are the undefeated team.
The tradition continues. Sports' biggest events right here. This is ABC Sports Championship Television.